On our second anniversary dinner, my boyfriend posted an intimate photo with the one person I despise most. I screen grabbed it calmly, saving the proof before he could delete it. He used to join me in calling her psychotic. Now he calls her my true north. Fine. Then I'll teach them the price of messing with the wrong woman. 8 p.m. I stared at the chat window with Ryan. The thread was frozen on my last line. Come home early tonight. I've got a surprise. He hadn't answered. Today was our second anniversary, a date I'd never made a big deal of. But Ryan always remembered the milestones. 100 days, 1 year. He conjured flowers and miracles out of thin air every time. Figuring love should be reciprocal, I'd taken the afternoon off, cooked an elaborate dinner, and hunted down the gift he'd been dropping hints about for months. Now I glared at the cooling dishes and felt something sour rise in my throat. On impulse, I opened Instagram. Pulled to refresh. A brand new post from Ryan floated to the top. Caption: My true north. Picture: his face pressed to another girl's, mouths grazing at the corners. Ice flooded my veins. I'd remember that girl even in death. Chloe. In college, I'd pitied her loneliness and reached out. She repaid me by sinking her fangs in my neck. She sneered that my widowed dad Charles's name was Hick, spread rumors I wasn't his biological kid, turned the friends I'd introduced her against me, and salted campus forums with fiction about my revolving door sex life. Those shadows used to drive me into tear-stained pillows at 3 a.m. Back then, Ryan cradled me, cursed Chloe with me, called her a sick psycho, swore she wasn't worth one of my fingernails. I thought he understood. It was all theater. I calmly captured a screen grab. As expected, the post vanished the next time I refreshed. I regarded the congealed entrees, lifted my chopsticks, and ate every bite. I refused to punish myself for someone else's crime. A full stomach is ammunition. I cleared the table, walked into the bedroom, and stopped in front of the full-length mirror. The woman reflected there wore a tailored dress and meticulous makeup, today's battle armor. But the rims of her eyes reddened and pooled against her will. Damn traitorous tear ducts. I inhaled sharply. Serena, no crying. Don't you dare cry. My voice quavered. Tears fell anyway. I smeared them away with the heel of my hand. 9:30. The front door rattled. Ryan stumbled in reeking of beer. He hollered from the entry. Serena, where's my surprise? I sat motionless on the bed, giving no answer. He zigzagged into the bedroom, grinned when he saw my back. Sorry, babe, client dinner ran late, he slurred. His arms snaked around my waist, beer breath fanning my cheek as he leaned in to kiss me. Disgust clawed my throat. I wrenched free and sidestepped the embrace. Without expression, I said, Client dinner? Since when does a junior engineer have client dinners? The sarcasm caught him off guard. Irritation flickered. I'm not some nobody anymore. Of course I network. Noticing my stony face, he produced a velvet box with magician's flourish. Don't be mad. I remembered. Look what I scored. He cracked the lid. Inside sat a mango milk crepe cake. Pretty, right? Waited 40 minutes in line for it. Best mango cake in the city. I stared, slack-jawed, laughter bubbling up my throat. Years together, and he still doesn't know I have a mango allergy. The one who loves mango has always been Chloe. My laugh carried a razor edge. We're pushing 30, Ryan. You can't buy me off with cake anymore. I leveled my gaze at the lethal dessert. Also, I'm allergic to mango. Memory lapse or just never cared enough to store the fact. His jaw locked. Allergies are nonsense. Eat more and your body adapts. Silence stretched. Mistaking it for forgiveness, he lunged for another hug. Baby, I love you. We've been together forever. Let's go pick a ring next weekend, yeah? A proposal? Now? No ring. No roses. Delivered with the same energy as commenting the weather's nice. So the threads were true. Men who cheat compensate with grand empty gestures. Marriage?
Sure.
First tell me who you spent tonight with. Ryan's face darkened, voice sharpening. Serena, must you be this paranoid? I came home late, didn't have time for a gift, big deal. Paranoid. Chloe's favorite shield after she'd twisted the knife and stepped back, wearing innocence. I hate that word more than I hate her. Sensitivity isn't a sin. It's my early warning radar. Never again will I let them use it to muzzle me. I dragged oxygen into my lungs, looked past his loathsome face, and thrust my phone between us. Behold my true north. Tell me, Ryan, who's paranoid now? His complexion blanched as the screen grab filled his vision. Okay, I had dinner with her, college friend catching up, that's all. You're seriously grilling me over that. I could barely keep my voice steady. You know I despise her. Dinner is one thing, but posting a photo glued to her lips and captioning it "my true north" explain that. He opened his mouth, trying to defend himself. I didn't give him the chance. Pack your things and get out tonight. We're done. Serena, you're ing insane. Ryan shrieked like a cat with its tail stepped on, his voice shooting up an octave. You don't trust me at all? Yeah, I had dinner with Chloe, so what? She's better than you, way more understanding. No wonder she told me back at Riverdale you. Told you what? I stared at him coldly.
Go on.
Let me guess, said I fooled around? Called me fickle? I stepped closer, eyes locked on his. Ryan, put your hand on your heart and ask yourself, from college till now, how have I treated you? When you couldn't land a job anywhere and finally squeezed into Sterling Hawthorne, was that your own merit? How much of it was my sweat and blood? Watching his face grow uglier by the second, I enunciated every word. Without me, Serena, what exactly are you, Ryan? Shut up, Ryan snapped, stung in his weak spot, shame twisting into rage, words spilling without filter. Yeah, you're incredible. You're amazing. Serena, who do you think you are? My savior. Let me tell you, I've had it with your holier-than-thou act. So you helped me a few times, need to rub it in every damn day? Maybe if your mom hadn't died early and your dad had taught you some manners, you'd know how to talk to people. Time felt frozen. I stared at his face, distorted by fury, listened to him viciously drag my long-dead mother and my exhausted father into the dirt. I raised my hand and swung with every ounce of strength. Smack. The crisp slap rang through the silent room. Ryan's head jerked sideways, 5 scarlet fingerprints blooming on his cheek. He pressed a palm to his face, glaring at me in disbelief, venom pooling in his eyes. Serena, you dare hit me? Out. I spat the single word and pointed at the door. His chest heaved. He shot me one last murderous look. Serena, you'll regret this. You're just jealous of Chloe. She's cleaner, purer than you. A woman like you deserves to be alone. He slammed the door so hard the walls shook. I stood there, icy tremors racing through me, my stomach churning. Chloe's sneer when she mocked my father's name, the certainty in her eyes when she spread rumors about me. Ryan had once seen it all, had raged alongside me. So love isn't the only thing that can change sides. A man's pity and sense of justice can switch owners just as easily. I leaned against the wall and slid slowly to the floor.
Disgusting.
Ding, a message popped up. I opened it. Dad. Serena, my corn's ripe. I'll bring you some soon, okay? I reread the text, my gaze steadying. What did I do wrong? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That night, I blocked Ryan on every platform, dragged every trace of him into garbage bags, and hurled them into the dumpster. Life moves on. I threw myself into work, cramming every hour with tasks until no space remained for memories. Just when I thought the waters were settling, Sterling Hawthorne called an all-hands meeting to introduce the new division director. When the familiar figure stepped up to the podium, I froze in my seat. Adrian. The guy I'd secretly crushed on for 2 whole years at Riverdale, brilliant, dazzling, the campus king. Back then, Chloe's rumors and freeze-out campaigns had buried my confidence. I never dared speak my feelings. Now fate had parked him right above me as my boss. He spotted me too. His gaze brushed my face for a heartbeat, flat, detached, as if I were background furniture.
Fine.
I drew a slow breath and buried the messy ache. Work is work. Private life stays outside. And Adrian treated it exactly that way, razor sharp, brutally strict, impartially frosty to everyone. I focused twice as hard. He would not catch me slipping. But Ryan refused to let me breathe. He started camping outside the tower lobby. "Serena, can we talk?" I was in a *** hole that night, I'm sorry. "Serena, without you my project's tanking. My boss chews me out daily. Help me just once more." Each time I looked at the face I once thought handsome and now found only oily and fake, I felt absolutely nothing. "Ryan, we're over. Stop harassing me." That was my only sentence. Then I sidestepped him and walked on. After a week of failures, his patience snapped. That afternoon I left the building and he lunged, this time clamping my wrist, so hard it throbbed. "Serena, quit playing saint. You think you'll snag someone better? No one else will want you." I yanked but couldn't break free. Coworkers were already staring. "Let go of her." A cold voice sliced in from behind. I turned. Adrian stood a few yards away, face calm, eyes like winter glass. Ryan saw him, flinched, and instinctively loosened his grip. Adrian stepped closer, glanced at the red marks on my wrist, then leveled his gaze at Ryan. "Sir, harassing a woman in public? I can have security escort you out or call the police." Ryan's complexion turned tie-dye. He shot me a venomous look, muttered something vile under his breath, and slunk away. I exhaled, smoothing my crumpled sleeve, and murmured, "Morgan." Adrian flicked a cool glance at me, voice laced with barbed ice. "Emery, keep your personal mess from bleeding into Sterling Hawthorne's image." My stomach dropped. I started to explain, but he was already striding off. I didn't know what strings Chloe had pulled, but somehow she'd landed a job at Sterling Hawthorne too. Later I heard that Adrian had personally called HR to fast-track her. With Adrian as her safety net, Chloe grew even bolder. Every time she saw Ryan drop by my cubicle, she went berserk with jealousy and cranked the rumor mill up another notch. Who knew Emery had such game? She's got her ex wrapped around her finger even after the breakup. They say she juggled 3 guys back at Riverdale University. Talk about a walking perfume ad. Every bee in the garden swarms in. The whispers swelled into a roar. Chloe's petty sabotage never stopped. Doctored spreadsheets, stalled approvals, timeline grenades tossed into my workflows. I dragged myself to Adrian's office each time, only to hear the same tired refrain. "She's new, cut her some slack. You're senior, show some grace." His shameless favoritism drained me dry. Then she crossed the final line. She came for the flagship campaign I'd been bleeding over for weeks. But after the last ambush, I'd hidden a pinhole camera above my monitor. That afternoon, I left a decoy deck on my desktop, every critical slide marked like a trail of breadcrumbs, and clocked out. Back home, the footage told the story. Chloe tiptoed in, rebooted my machine, and lifted the file with a flash drive she'd kept warm in her fist. I calmly archived the security footage and kept my mouth shut. Days later, at the project pitch, Chloe leapt up first, commandeering my labor as her own. She orated, grand and sweaty, showering the conference table with sparks and spit. Everyone murmured that the deck was flawless. Then she turned to me, smirking. "Let's hear from Emery. Hers must be even better, right?" When she finally shut up, I opened the projector under the cold theater of their stares. "Great performance," I said, voice level. "But let's roll a quick clip first." The security footage flickered on, capturing every furtive twitch as she swiped the deck. Gasps ricocheted off the glass walls. Chloe's face drained to paper white. "Serena, you set me up," she screeched, shooting to her feet. "Enough." Adrian slammed the table, complexion granite. "Emery, handle this privately. Airing dirty laundry in a boardroom is unprofessional." "Privately." I almost laughed. Sure enough, the second his door clicked shut, he turned on me. "Serena, do you have to make everything a spectacle? You just broadcast a felony in front of half the company. Think about the optics, the brand damage." Chloe ducked behind him, crocodile tears on tap. "Adrian, no, it's not like that." Serena planned the whole trap. She was infamous for these stunts back at Riverdale. Now that Ryan dumped her, she's bitter and jealous of me. Adrian studied her quivering lip, then looked my way, disappointment etched deep. "Figures. You always acted superior back in college. Turns out a decade in the workplace hasn't matured you one bit." I stared at them, Chloe's sly tremor, Adrian's righteous scowl, and felt a red-hot piston drive up my spine. "Chloe, didn't you get your fill of fabricating gossip at Riverdale? You stole another woman's man, and now you play the victim? And you, Adrian, are you blind or just brain dead? She's fouled up repeatedly and stole proprietary work. Proof in 4K. And you still cover for her? A liar who peddles fiction and a CEO who can't read facts. Congratulations, you two are competing for the Darwin Award." I left them gaping, the door shuddering in its frame behind me. Slamming out of Adrian's office, I walked around under a personal thundercloud for days. That Friday, I ducked into the speakeasy around the corner after work, craving silence and something smoky. Fate cackled. Ryan and Chloe were fused together in a corner booth like tacky decals. I tried to ignore them, but they detached and glided over, all teeth. "Well, if it isn't Big Bad Emery flying solo tonight," Ryan drawled, gaze slithering over me. "Still the plain Jane routine, huh? No wonder no guy sticks around. Zero spice." He hugged Chloe tighter, as though she were a trophy with silicone padding. Chloe collapsed against him, simpering. "Thank God your taste recovered. A woman who shows up barefaced and bitchy every day? Instant repellent." Watching their community theater act, I tasted bile. Once I'd been dumb enough to treasure the bargain bin affection Ryan tossed my way. I'd logged crazy overtime to bankroll gadgets, sneakers, VIP festival passes, anything to earn one of his lazy grins. I'd played the grateful sponsor in my own relationship. Spice. I set my tumbler down and met his eyes. "Your idea of spice is scarfing down the gadgets my overtime bought while you chase someone who brings better seasoning, right?" Ryan's jaw twitched. "Quit making crap up. Truth hurts. Check your credit card statements." I slid my phone onto the table, tapped record, and let the red light pulse. "Since we're all here, let's audit the gift ledger. You can Venmo the total or hand the stuff back. 3-day deadline, your choice." Chloe shrieked. "Have you no shame? Who demands gifts back?" I shifted my gaze to her, smile thin as razor wire. "What's wrong? Budget too tight? Or your boy toy can't float his own lifestyle and prefers charity?" I gave Ryan the same slow, dismissive scan he'd given me. Looking at the current merchandise, I doubt he could earn soft money on a street corner anyway. Besides, I missed the memo where real boyfriends let their girlfriends bankroll them while they show up with cupcakes and call it even. "Serena." Ryan's face glowed crimson. Scattered Snickers from neighboring tables fried his pride. "I'll mail your junk tomorrow. Nobody wants your penny anti-guilt offerings." "Perfect." I raised the recording phone in mock toast. "The whole thing's on tape. And just so we're clear, don't try fobbing me off with counterfeits or I'll walk straight to the courthouse and sue you for conversion." I doubt Sterling Hawthorne wants employees with a rap sheet, do you? Ryan was shaking so hard his finger rattled like a tuning fork, but he couldn't string two words together. I didn't bother looking at him again. I shifted my gaze to Chloe and let the sneer bloom full-throated. "Sam, Does landing a guy by wrecking his ex feel as good as it looks? No wonder nobody at Riverdale University wanted you at their lunch table. Some people are born with homewrecker pheromones. You can smell it 3 blocks upwind. You bitch. Chloe's perfectly contoured face folded in on itself. With half the speakeasy watching, they couldn't afford a full-blown scene. I'd seen enough impotent rage for one afternoon. I paid my tab and left the two of them turning the color of week-old guacamole under everyone's Instagram stories. The same night, Ryan couriered every gift I'd ever given him back to my apartment. Fast work for a slow thinker. Chloe went quiet too, at least on the open mic rumor circuit. Whenever a fresh piece of gossip about me floated through the bullpen, someone else batted it down before I opened my mouth. Get real. Emery isn't like that. Sounds like projection to me. Back to work, gossip queens. Each time Chloe tried to reopen the subject, she was shut down so politely her face looked ready to drip off her skull. At lunch a few days later, I ducked into the fire stairwell to call one of our bigger clients, an exec I'd clicked with at a conference years ago. He'd signed this renewal largely on faith in my track record plus Sterling Hawthorne's numbers. The call wrapped smoothly. We always swap small talk before hanging up, so the line stays open a beat longer than strictly necessary. I just pocketed the phone when the door clicked and Chloe stalked in, poison practically foaming at the corners of her mouth. Serena, why the hell can't you stay buried? She planted herself in my path. Why are you such a magnet for every man in a 50-mile radius? Ryan, Adrian, half the cubicle farm, even the clients. What's so special about you? I studied her like she was a specimen slide. Are you honestly jealous of me, Chloe? Her features slid sideways for a second. I angled to step around her. She seized my wrist, pupils blown wide. You always had a thing for Adrian, didn't you? Back at Riverdale University, he asked me to hand you his confession letter, and I trashed it. Then I told him you laughed in my face, called him a frog trying to date a swan. Surprise. If it weren't for me, you two would have been sickeningly happy. But why should you get the fairy tale? I looked at the manic glitter in her eyes and smiled. I lifted my other hand, the phone still warm, screen glowing red. Recording. Chloe, fun fact, I said almost kindly. President Wong on that call? He, and I always linger on the line. Your little soliloquy just aired live to the guy who signs half our paychecks. The blood drained from her face, so fast her grip went slack. I peeled her fingers off. Still, I owe you. If I'd known Adrian trusted the likes of you to deliver his feelings, I'd have written him off instantly. Birds of a feather, after all. No, you're lying, she shrieked. Just then the door slammed open. Adrian stood framed in the threshold, white as printer paper, voice scraped raw. Tell me that's not true. Chloe stumbled backward, babbling. Adrian, no. She set me up, she. The excuse crumbled mid-sentence. His eyes flicked to me, layered with apology and something close to pleading, but I beat him to the punch. Casey, you're blocking a fire route. I've got a deadline. I brushed past him without breaking stride. Next morning, HR blasted an all-hands email. Effective immediately, Chloe was terminated for gross misconduct. Word was Adrian signed the dismissal himself. He sought me out twice after that, trying to atone for trusting Chloe, for every snide remark he'd made since he parachuted into Sterling Hawthorne. Serena, I didn't know the half of what she did. If you'd received that letter, maybe we could have. He left the sentence hanging, hope flickering like a bad bulb. Rowan, I thought, time moves on and people with it. Adrian, ancient history. I cut in. I liked you once. The statute of limitations on that expired years ago. He pushed harder. Give me one chance to make it up to you. I shook my head. I don't like you now. And I don't buy that you loved me, because if you had, you wouldn't have swallowed untested gossip and sentenced me in your head. Real affection doesn't fold at the first rumor, let alone the condescension. You toss a letter my way and expect gratitude pirouettes. That's not love. That's ego. The light in his eyes guttered out section by section, but my pulse stayed flat and calm. I'm Serena. I pick things up, I set them down, and I never double back. Adrian clearly hadn't taken a word I'd said to heart. He acted as though he had to prove his feelings for me were real. Either he'd plant some outlandishly expensive gift on my desk without warning, or he'd drop a marquee project in my lap until I was drowning in overtime. One night, when I was still at my keyboard at 9, he drifted over like a ghost, a paper takeout bag swinging from his hand. In front of everyone, he murmured, "I just picked up some late-night snacks. Have a bite. Don't go hungry." I glanced up. Under the fluorescent lights, Adrian's ears were scarlet. I met the amused stare circling us and answered slowly, "Morgan, I already ate. If you overordered, ask the teammates who haven't had dinner." No one touched the food. I shut my laptop and told the man still holding the bag, "Casey, I'm off the clock. Do what you like." Serena. Adrian chased me the moment I stepped outside Sterling Hawthorne. I stopped and looked back. "Please, 10 minutes, just 10. We went to the cafe downstairs." "Serena, I know anything I say sounds like an excuse, but believe me, the things I told you before, none of them came from my heart." He searched my face for any reaction. I gave him none. He exhaled and kept talking. "I was jealous of everyone around you. I never had you for a single second. How could Ryan toss you aside like worn-out shoes? I still love you." I checked my phone, off duty, and I'd already listened for 8 minutes. I frowned and answered, dead serious. "Adrian, if right now I called you garbage, arrogant, self-absorbed, a flirt, dirty to the core, would that make you happy?" His face drained white. "One sentence from me and you're upset, but I've swallowed insults like that for years." "I didn't want it to get this ugly, Adrian. You don't love me. You envy me, my edge, the way people like me. You're a sewer rat who assumes the worst, so you can drag others down. You think nobody sees how empty you are, but I do. If you'd slipped me that bag in private, I might have respected you, but you chose the spotlight. Did you respect me? Rumors kill. People still remember the smears Chloe spread. Why forget that? Why shove me back into the same gutter?" I took one last look at his bloodless face and walked out. My life finally felt on track. Work was smooth. The air smelled cleaner without Ryan and Chloe in it. Now, and then mutual friends updated me. Apparently, since going public, the new couple fought nonstop. Stripped of my behind-the-scenes help, Ryan's incompetence showed. He was reamed by managers daily. Chloe's heiress tantrums and leash-tight control suffocated him. I snorted and tuned them out. Then Chloe, fired but unrepentant, started a Finsta account to spin more lies about me. This time I didn't endure it. I cataloged every dirty trick she'd pulled and posted a thread of receipts. The post detonated like a depth charge across Riverdale's corporate Instagram scene. People she'd fooled finally saw the real her. Comments exploded with condemnation and apologies to me. Chloe's reputation was toast. Ryan, crushed by work and tormented at home, snapped and dumped her. Chloe refused to accept it. The breakup turned into a screaming war. In a final fit, she compiled their intimate bedroom photos into a PDF dossier, uploaded it to Twitter, and tagged Ryan's company and PhD program. A noted alumnus, he became instant roadkill. Career, future, all gone. Blind with rage, he strangled her during their next clash. I was filling out my exit checklist when the news broke. Ryan, homicide charge, behind bars, waiting for the law to run its course. Chloe paid for her poison with her life. A trash fire finale that earned zero pity from me. You plant nettles, you harvest stings, simple karma. One day the police called. Ryan wanted to see me. I went. He looked a decade older, surprising me. "Why wouldn't you just placate me back then? Your coldness drove me here." I stared, incredulous. You want money and emotional service? Pick one. He ranted, eyes blazing. It's all your fault, Serena. Why did you dump me? I smiled. Because my story never had room for dead weight like you. Adrian cornered me after I filed my resignation. Eyes soft with regret. He tried one last time. Serena, I was wrong. Sterling Hawthorne needs you, and Casey. I cut in, still smiling. Appreciate the vote of confidence. But I'm done. This chapter ends now. I'd landed an offer from a top overseas firm. Bigger paycheck, bigger horizons. Dad's health was shaky. He'd toiled his whole life. I wanted him to see the world at last, breathe easy in a quiet retirement. Exit formalities sailed through. Before flying out, I treated the team to dinner, thanking them for having my back. The mood was warm, the toasts heartfelt, Adrian absent, perfect, since I never wanted to see him again. As the plane lifted, I watched the city shrink, excitement bubbling. Touchdown, new country, new apartment sorted, I took Dad exploring. He pointed at everything like a kid. Serena, look how massive that guy is. What do they feed them? Wow, that puppy's eyes are blue. Here, pup. So, what's for dinner? Let Dad show off his cooking. Listening to his chatter, seeing the ease on his face, I felt peace I'd never known. I'd feared bringing him abroad, but he bloomed here. I slipped my arm through his, rested my head on his shoulder, and smiled from the inside out. My rebirth had begun. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you liked it, hit like and share with friends. We're waiting for your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories.
See you next time.
I slid the signed breakup contract across the table. Adrian, we're done. Opposite me, the man hailed as the god of STEM merely pinched an imaginary speck of dust from his fingertips. He lifted his gaze, eyes that could read every data stream in the world, flat and calm. Fine. But clause 2, the two parties shall never meet again. He chuckled once, then tore the paper to confetti. I don't agree. The scraps fluttered like snow. One landed on my trembling finger. My scalp prickled. Here it comes, the novel's warning sign that the obsessive male lead is about to snap. I've been trapped inside love in the lab for 3 months, rehearsing for this exact moment. As the disposable ex, my scripted fate is to be mowed down by a rabid fan after the breakup, my gruesome death stealing Adrian's heart so he can chase the real heroine in icy, glorious earnest. Screw that love chase. I just want to live. So I must break up with him, gently, peacefully, without tripping a single psycho wire. Clearly, I failed. Why? His voice is soft, a cold scalpel skating down my spine. I force a polite, distant smile. Adrian, we don't fit. You like silence, I like noise. You need a partner who can keep up with you in research, someone like Brielle, while I just want to coast. Yes, go chase your destined heroine and stop wasting time on cannon fodder. He says nothing, only stands. 6'2" of intimidation looms over me. He rounds the table, step by measured step. The custom lab coat fits him like haute couture, austere and untouchable. I know the obsession coiled beneath that perfect skin. Talia. He stops inches away and leans in. The clean scent of antiseptic washes over me. He lifts a hand as if to cup my cheek. I flinch and jump back. His hand freezes midair. The air solidifies. Silence roars. I hear my heart pounding war drums. Shit, he hates being dodged. Slowly he pockets the rejected hand. The last flicker of warmth dies in his eyes. You don't like noise? Correct. Then who dragged Kendall to that music festival last week? I choke. How the hell did he know? You want someone who can match me? The mockery is unmistakable now. When Brielle hit a wall, who emailed her that obscure paper on protein misfolding in neurodegeneration? My pupils earthquake. He even knows that? I only wanted the original heroine to shine so he'd look elsewhere. As for coasting, his smile is a January icicle. Talia, you spent 96 days planning this breakup, skimmed 300+ psychology articles, wargamed 17 exit scripts, even drew me a tidy roadmap for falling in love with Brielle. Each word bleaches my face another shade. And you call that coasting? I feel stripped and shoved into a blizzard. How could he know? I was so careful, surprised. He pinches my chin, forcing me to meet his eyes. That AI sidekick in your laptop, escape plot, runs on my code. My brain whites out. Game over. My biggest cheat is his spy baby. He bends to my ear, voice a lover's whisper. You want to break up, do you? I don't even think about it. The instant the words land, he clamps my wrist and drags me deeper into the lab, into the zone not even the original heroine ever saw. Help, what if he locks me up? The massive alloy door hisses open. Instead of a dungeon, a cathedral of glass white and sky blue greets us. Holographic panels hover everywhere, data waterfalls shimmer in midair. At the center, a giant cerulean sphere turns lazily. My core lab, he says, come again. And a cradle of Archimedes. Archimedes, my accursed escape plan AI. Hello, Talia, a warm synthetic voice echoes. The sphere pulses. By Mr. Cross's top directive, I'm now on 24-hour standby for you. I twitch. Service? More like round-the-clock surveillance. He releases me and swipes up a wall-sized touchscreen. I know what you're afraid of. My heart vaults into my throat. Of course he does. I mapped every plot flag you mentioned. The display blooms into a tangle of crimson lines radiating from my name, each terminating in a grisly icon. Hit and run, rooftop plunge, kidnapping, toxic exposure. He recites them like grocery items. Archimedes gives you a 0.013% chance of surviving the year if you leave me. My knees go jelly. Multiple deaths? Being cannon fodder is overkill. Therefore, he concludes, turning, the safest place is by my side. Perfect logic, and pure nightmare. Sounds like house arrest with extra steps. No. I blurt. Adrian, this is my life. You don't get to decide it. I'm not deciding, he murmurs, smoothing a stray lock of my hair, gentle and terrifying. I'm protecting you. It's imprisonment. I snap. His hand stills, the temperature plunges. Imprisonment? The word coils low in his chest. If that's what it takes. He taps his wristband. Initiate lockdown protocol. No one enters or leaves the core. Supplies via bots only. Copy, sir, Archimedes answers. The alloy door rumbles shut behind me, airtight. I gape. He's actually doing the cliché black remark. Happy now? He asks, looking down at me with a cruel half-smile. Tears sting my eyes, my whole body shakes. You maniac. He simply smiles wider. Crazy for you, gladly. He strolls to the console and begins typing, ignoring me utterly. I stand stranded, furious, terrified, helpless. Deep breath, Talia. Outsmart, don't outmuscle, every transmigrator's motto. I swallow the tears and shuffle closer, tugging the hem of his coat. I'm hungry. His fingers pause above the keys. Without turning, what do you want? The spicy stir-fry bowl from the campus food court, 3rd floor. He'll have to take me there, crowds equal escape chances. He finally glances back, amused, as if watching a toddler's magic trick. Archimedes, replicate the 3rd floor spicy stir-fry bowl. Robot 3 will deliver. Understood. ETA 15 minutes. My grin dies mid-bloom. Damn high tech. 15 minutes later a roly-poly bot glides up with a perfect, fragrant duplicate. I devour it, channeling rage into calories. Across the room Adrian works, sneaking surveillance glances, like a scientist monitoring a snack-happy lab rat. Eat up, then run later. The internal intercom chirps. A holo pops up, his Lieutenant Zane, postgraduate workaholic. Adrian, external rig is dialed in. Brielle's team needs. Zane's words dissolve when he spots me, and my lunch. Talia? His jaw unhooks. How are you in the core? I wiggle my chopsticks, mouth full of spam. Hey. His eyeballs look ready to roll out. The core. A place this crowd of PhD researchers had petitioned to enter 800 times without success. Adrian's private sanctum. And Talia, an art history major, was sitting right here, scooping up a spicy stir-fry bowl. Adrian frowned in clear displeasure and shifted sideways to block most of Zane's line of sight. What is it? Oh. Zane snapped out of his daze and hurriedly delivered his report. Senior Brielle says there's still a problem with the data model and hopes you can come take a look. Tell her to send the data over. Adrian answered without a second thought. TSK, the male lead halo is already wobbling. In the original plot he granted the destined heroine her every wish. Zane looked troubled. But the senior said, the issue is complicated and can't be explained online. Just then a cool, slightly anxious female voice cut in. Adrian. Brielle's hologram materialized beside Zane. Worthy of the original novel's heroine, she was in a white dress, her poise as pristine as a painting, even in virtual form. When she saw me, that perfect mask cracked for a split second. She quickly hid it, focusing only on Adrian. One key parameter in the model still won't converge, the whole project is stalled. Could you come over? A faint plea and reliance lurked in her tone. Here it comes, the destined heroine's cry for help. According to script, Adrian should rush over and flaunt his omnipotent boyfriend power. I pricked up my ears, ready for the show. Yet Adrian merely gave her a cool glance. No. Brielle and Zane froze in unison. Send the data, I'll have an answer in 5 minutes. Without allowing Brielle another word, he severed the connection. The core fell silent again. I blinked, a little dazed. Script's wrong. Where's the hero saves beauty scene? He just cut the line? Adrian turned and noticed me staring. His brow lifted slightly. Finished eating? Then come here. He crooked a finger. I walked over, puzzled. He pulled out a chair, pressed on my shoulders, and sat me down. Then he opened a folder, every drawing and design I'd done in college. What are you doing? I tensed. Aren't you an art history major? He pointed at a screen of incomprehensible code. Help me decide what color palette this UI should use. I looked from the alien glyphs to his dead serious face. An art major advising a top AI genius on UI colors? Are you kidding me? You're killing me here. Just as I was about to say, I have no clue, the lab's entry system blared an alarm. Alert. Unauthorized personnel attempting to enter the core. A surveillance feed popped up. Outside the door, a woman in a pink dress and flawless makeup was pounding frantically. It was Fiona, the research circle's infamous green tea queen and the vicious supporting actress who tormented me in the original book. Between slaps on the door she sobbed at the camera. Alex. I know Casey's in there. Is she forcing you? Open up. I'm so worried. I nearly coughed up a mouthful of spicy stir-fry. Big sister, which eye of yours saw me forcing him? He's the one trapping me, okay. Adrian's face blackened like the bottom of a pot. Before he could speak, my brain short-circuited and produced a wicked comeback. I cleared my throat, adopted a squeaky green tea tone, and cooed at Adrian. Alex, I'm so scared out here. Who's that lady interrupting our alone time? As I spoke I deliberately rubbed against his chest. Gross you out. You locked me in, now suffer the cringe. The air turned cemetery-level still. Adrian's whole body stiffened. He looked down at me, his gaze so layered I couldn't read it, shock, bewilderment, and, unless I was imagining things, a strange flicker of pleasure. Outside, Fiona kept shrieking. Alex. Open the door. Don't let that gold-digging airhead fool you, she's not good enough for you. Adrian finally moved. Ignoring Fiona, he stared at me and asked in a hoarse murmur, What, did you just call me? My heart lurched. Crap, overplayed it. Does he think I've lost my mind? I gave a dry laugh. Haha, just joking, lightening the mood. He wouldn't let it go, tightening his fingers around my wrist, stepping closer. I like that joke. Whirlpools seemed to swirl in his dark eyes. Say it again. Psycho. My scalp prickled. Just as I searched for an escape, the comm rang again, still Zane, now looking as if he'd seen a ghost. Dr. Adrian. Brielle sent the data, but, because of the wrong parameter, the model has completely collapsed. Adrian's brows crashed together in a. He released me and strode to the main screen. Where smooth data curves had been, chaotic code now glittered, red alarms flashing. How could this happen? For the first time his voice carried gravity. I leaned in for a look. I couldn't understand the numbers, but I recognized the scene. In the original novel this was the emotional turning point for the leads. The destined heroine, impatient, had used a wrong parameter and nearly wrecked the project. Just as despair hit, the male lead swept in, fixed the model, upgraded the algorithm, and cemented his legend. She fell for him completely from that moment on. Oh ho, is the story about to autocorrect? Watching Adrian's knitted brow, a wild idea sparked. If I solved this for him. Would that prove I wasn't a useless airhead, earn his respect, and maybe soften him into letting me go? I'm no scientist, but I have a script. I clearly recalled the answer lay in an overlooked paper by an Icelandic geologist on the volcanic ash fallout model. Its algorithm fit their current distribution problem perfectly. I cleared my throat. The instant I spoke, Adrian, Brielle, and Zane all looked my way. Brielle's eyes showed open impatience and disdain. Art student, why butt in now? I read her gaze but didn't care. Pointing casually at a curve on the screen, I said. This looks a lot like a diagram in some volcano ash paper I once read. Zane snorted but caught himself. Brielle frowned outright. Casey, now's not the time for jokes. See? Elite arrogance, predictable. Ignoring them, I rambled on, pretending to struggle for words. It was by some professor in Iceland, studying how volcanic ash spreads. He said the dispersal isn't random, something about Laplace's demon, no, Laplace, distribution? I spoke haltingly, the perfect outsider butting in. Keywords delivered, up to you genius types to connect the dots. Zane wore a what nonsense face. Brielle's impatience morphed into total disgust. Adrian, however, looked struck by lightning. He spun toward me, eyes blazing. Laplace distribution. Sudden clarity lit his face, his fingers exploded across the keyboard. Of course. The non-normal features of the sample fit a modified Laplace model perfectly. Archimedes, pull every atmospheric fallout paper from the University of Iceland's geophysics department in the last 5 years. Searching. Match found, asymmetric Laplace-based volcanic ash fallout trajectory prediction by Eiríkur Johnson. Download algorithm core, map into current model, rebuild parameters. Yes, sir. Under Zane's and Brielle's stupefied holographic stares, the garbled code rearranged itself at lightning speed. In under 3 minutes a brand new, rock-solid blue model blossomed on the screen, sleek, flawless. Emery, defused. The lab fell so quiet you could hear a pin drop. The projections looked like statues, eyes asking, who am I? Where am I? What just happened? I kept my awesome aura hidden, stepped aside, and crunched my apple. So? Surprised? Welcome to the Talia show, call me daddy from now on. Adrian still faced the monitor, but his low, laughter-laced voice rang clear. Talia. Come here. He beckoned. From today on, you're this project's chief art consultant. I'd become the chief art consultant. A title that sounded ridiculously impressive, but in reality it was just a cushy, do-nothing post. The salary Adrian offered me was unrestricted movement inside the core and a private computer he hadn't walled off. Yes. I can reach the outside world. The instant I got the laptop I logged into my throwaway account and texted my best friend, million-follower beauty amroast vlogger Kendall. Me, SOS. Locked in a black site suite. Kendall rang me the next second. Holy crap, Talia, you're for real? You actually dumped the living devil? I tried. Didn't take. I dropped my voice and sneaked a glance at Adrian a few steps away. He's keeping me in his lab, soft detention. Kidnapping? Kendall shrieked an octave higher. Call the cops. Won't help, I sighed. He can spin at his couple's kink and this is a top-secret federal facility, police can't even get in. So this is Apex clout power? The law itself becomes his camouflage dot. Then what? I'm booking a flight right now. I'll sit in at the gate if I have to, I'm busting you out, she declared. No. I stopped her fast. You can't win against him. I need you for something else. Name it. PR Counter-Strike. I told her about Fiona wailing outside and the earlier smear campaign. That green tea witch, I've wanted to drag her forever. Kendall exploded. Hold up, I'm dropping a tell-all that'll expose her great-grandma's diary. Not on your main. And don't go head-on, that's tacky, I warned. I laid out my play-by-play. Kendall gasped between sentences, damn, yeah, a few days in lockup and you've leveled up? What can I say? Desperation unlocks achievements. Even bunnies bite. I hung up lighter than air, until I lifted my eyes and met Adrian's fathomless stare. He'd materialized behind me. Who was that? I almost threw the laptop. And no one. Telemarketer. Walk much? Planning to scare me to death and inherit my spicy stir-fry bowl? He didn't press. Just set a mug of hot milk beside me. Drink. Sleep early. Then he walked back to his workstation. Watching him go, I got the chills. How much had he heard? The next 48 hours were eerily calm. Adrian fine-tuned a new model and barely acknowledged me, while I kept my eyes glued to the trending charts. Kendall was worth every follower. She never attacked Fiona directly. Via a side account she posted across research forums and socials an article titled, "When Art History Meets Quantum Physics, How Cross-Disciplinary Insight Illuminated a Top Lab." It spun a semi-true tale of a gorgeous art consultant who cracked a weeks-long impasse with volcanic ash theory, narrated in the breathless voice of an insider. Buzzwords like God's muse of inspiration, an artist the code kept hidden, a match made in genius and beauty heaven littered every paragraph. Mockery flooded in at first, keep writing, tomorrow she'll hand-build a nuke. Art major stay in your lane. If the god of STEM falls for a vase I'll livestream a headstand shampoo. Then, just as the thread sank, an _island appeared with one line, can confirm, basically accurate. Also, it's Laplace distribution, not Laplace demon. PhD aide to Adrian, Zane. Zane. He'd personally stepped in. Detonation. Zane's comment was a depth charge, the whole platform blew up. OMG, front row seat to a titan. So the art girl actually inspired the god? What drama? Calling out the headstand guy, let's see it. In 24 hours the tide turned. I went from clueless clinger to Oracle muse, while Fiona's earlier slander about Golden Cage imprisonment looked pathetic. Scrolling, my grin refused to stay down. Nirvana. So this is the high of a public opinion flip? Kendall, my superhero mouthpiece. Right then Fiona rang. I hit speaker, eyebrow arched. Talia, she screeched. You put Zane up to that, didn't you, you little, what spell did you cast on him? I dug at my ear. Jordan, chew food, not words. Slander's actionable. You. Just wait. Adrian will see through you. Doubtful, I drawled. After all, I'm now his officially anointed chief art consultant. Click. End call. Play bitch games, win bitch prizes. I was humming when, bam, Adrian again. He held a tablet open to our viral thread. My stomach dropped. Crap, busted. Time to die? You're doing? He asked. I stiffened. Yes. I asked my friend to. Nicely executed, he cut in, almost praising. Timing, angle, amplification, all tight. He paused. Tighter than the lab's own PR team. Quinn? Wrong reaction. Shouldn't he cage me for being manipulative? He set the tablet down and stepped close. Still, you shouldn't have to. Leave the spinning to me. He studied me, dead serious. Your hands are meant for brushes, not flame wars. He lifted his hand, thought better, and tucked it back. My heart missed a beat. Illegal move. What's with the sudden warmth? His wristband flashed crimson. Archimedes spoke, Sir, Fiona's device is illicitly mirroring unencrypted D7 data. Evidence secured? Adrian asked, voice iced over. Archived. Trace ends at Stellar Tech RD Chief. Stellar Tech, our biggest rival. Perfect. An Arctic smile curved his mouth as he speed-dialed legal. It's me. Activate Level A litigation, target, Fiona, charge, corporate espionage. I want her buried in court until the cells rot. He ended the call. Silence became glacial. Watching that ruthless profile, I shivered. Crap. I aimed for social death, he's booking her a prison debut. That's the male lead's true caliber, no move, no mercy, total annihilation. I quietly pulled my blanket higher and decided to keep my head low. Survival first. With Fiona gone, the lab turned quiet. Adrian burrowed deeper into data, while I drafted my grand jailbreak. Plan A, feign illness. I clutched my stomach, face paper white, and hit the floor. Ow, ow, acute gastro, ambulance, please. Any hospital with real people will do, let me run. Adrian strolled over, knelt, assessed, way too calm. Number 911. He triggered the facility's Apex medical protocol instead. 10 minutes later a chopper marked National landed on the roof helipad. Off stepped a white-haired, ramrod sprightly savior, followed by assistants lugging precision gear. Zane whispered, that's Rowan, Supremo of GI medicine. Usually reserves his stethoscope for heads of state. Me, Rowan beamed, ran full diagnostics, verdict, too much spicy stir-fry, kiddo. Digestive gridlock. Moderation, okay? I lay in a suite that rivaled ICU, soul leaking out my eyes. I wanted a county ER, not a National Treasure house call. I can't carry this much face. Plan A ended in shameful luxury. Plan B, recruitment. My target was Zane. He was the only person besides Adrian who was occasionally allowed in and out of the Corps. While Adrian was away in a video conference, I crept to Zane. Sam, I said, handing him an ice-cold Coke, can we talk? Zane eyed me warily. Sis, Consultant Talia, what can I do for you? Calling me sis? Kid, your thoughts are heading into dangerous territory. When you head out next time, could you hide me in your equipment crate and smuggle me out? I measured a tiny space with my hands. Just for a second. I swear I won't cause trouble. Zane's face collapsed. Grandma, please spare me, he whimpered. Adrian will kill me. Literally, physically kill me. He's not that scary. I lied, lacking confidence. You have no idea, Zane whispered, horror-struck. Last month an intern accidentally knocked over the cactus you gave Adrian. Adrian booted him from the project on the spot and said he'd never work in academia again. Me, that cactus had been a throw-in so I could get free shipping. The mental circuits of a psycho are truly unique. Sis, just stay put. Good food, good drinks, and Adrian for company, plenty of people would kill for that life, Zane urged earnestly. Looking at his sincere face, I lost all hope. Relying on you? I might as well wait for Archimedes to defect. Plan B, failed. I was a bird in a golden cage, eat, sleep, or dragged off by Adrian to give artistic feedback on his icy lines of code. Days slipped by and my chances of escape grew slimmer. Until, a week later, opportunity finally knocked. The International AI Annual Summit was being held in town. Adrian, a keynote speaker, had to attend. And, he actually wanted to take me along. Heaven is helping me. Crowds, chaos, cameras, perfect moment to bolt. I smothered my joy and put on my best obedient smile. Great, I could use some fresh air. Adrian studied me, eyes saying, what scheme are you hatching now? I didn't care. As long as I got out, there was hope. Summit day, I dressed in sleek athleisure, easy to move in. Adrian handed me a box. Inside lay a snowy white cocktail dress and a pair of 10-centimeter stilettos. Change, he ordered. Me, I can't run in these. I know, he smiled. That's the point. Me. Bastard. You win this round. The venue sparkled with the brightest minds on the planet. I teetered beside Adrian in that accursed dress and heels, a marionette on strings. He seemed to relish it, holding my hand everywhere, introducing me to every big name. This is my fiancée, Talia. My ankle twisted, I nearly face-planted. Fiancé my foot. When did I ever agree? Envious and admiring stares rained down. I kept smiling, cursing Adrian 10,000-fold inside. Then a jarring voice intruded. Dr. Cross, so young and accomplished, and never without a beauty on your arm. I turned. A 50-ish, balding, pot-bellied man waddled over. His oily once-over made my skin crawl. Zane whispered, that's Techuse Taylor, Fiona's old mentor. Loves throwing his weight around and holds grudges. Ah, the fossil backing the green tea hag. Adrian's gaze chilled, he nodded politely. Taylor. Taylor wouldn't quit, aiming straight at me. So this is Casey, the famous muse. I hear Dr. Cross's latest breakthrough came from a single divine revelation of yours? He leered on revelation, sarcasm dripping. Heroes and beauties, eh? In my day we worked distraction-free. Now every hobbyist wants credit, an art major lecturing on quantum physics. Comedy gold. His voice carried, heads turned. I felt Adrian's temper spike, clasped his hand to hold him back. Easy, my leading man. I've got this. I stepped forward, smile bright and clueless. Professor Taylor, you said back then scientists were single-minded? Absolutely, he crowed. Oh, I dragged the syllable. Then how come your 1994 paper on superconductor phase transitions in applied physics letters shares 98.7% of its key data with a 1974 Soviet paper by Ivanov? A cemetery hush fell. Taylor's face bleached. Why, you're slandering. Ivanov, never heard of him. Really? I tilted my phone, screen outward. My friend's blog just dropped a post, *academic archaeology, the cross-border shoutouts we missed. *side-by-side graphs, color-coded. A copy-paste masterpiece. Gasps fluttered. Oh, I added sweetly, it's auto-pushed to every physics researcher and journalist worldwide. Your inbox is about to crash. I beamed like an angel. Taylor stared, lips quivering, sweat rivers rolling down his shiny forehead, looking at me like I was Satan in heels. Whispers surged, research misconduct? Copied a 30-year-old obscure paper? Pathetic. International embarrassment. Taylor's eyes rolled back, he toppled flat. I pocketed the phone, mission accomplished. Old dinosaurs need public pantsing. I spun for Adrian's praise. Instead I found his gaze, incandescent, devouring, pride, awe, raw possession. My heart stuttered. Crap, might have overcooked it. While medics clustered around Taylor, I slid backward step by step. Time to ghost. The stilettos had to go, barefoot, shoes in hand, I padded along the wall toward the exit lights. Crowds and strobing LEDs were my camouflage. Freedom's door loomed. A hand clamped my wrist from behind, iron tight. No need to look, that crisp Arctic aura could only be him. Going somewhere? Adrian asked, voice calm, volcano before eruption. I turned, frozen. Backlit, his face unreadable, the pressure around us carved out a dead zone. I needed the restroom, I croaked. Restroom? He stepped closer. Barefoot? Restroom? Heading for the exit? Wall at my back, nowhere left. Talia, he caged me, palms slamming the wall on either side, textbook corner press, all I felt was terror. Tell me again, low, trembling with danger. Why must you leave? No more icy logic in his eyes, only raw, overflowing panic and pain. A child about to be abandoned. Am I not good enough? Name it, fame, status, fortune, my life, it's yours. Why won't you stay? Forehead to forehead, his ragged breath scorched my skin. He was shaking, this demigod of data, actually shaking. My heart twisted. Don't make it hard to run, Adrian, let go. My voice cracked. Never. Not until you tell me why. What are you so afraid of? His question flicked the lock on my deepest dread. Afraid of what? Death. The same death the book promised, crumpled beneath cold wheels. All the bottled terror and injustice detonated. Because I'm going to die. I finally cracked, screaming it at him, hysterical. Tears spilled like snapped strings, completely beyond my control. Because in the book, 3 days after you dump me, your crazy fan will run me over with her car right at the crosswalk in front of campus. I don't want to die. I just want to live. Is that wrong? I spewed every secret in one frantic breath. The whole world seemed to go silent. Adrian froze solid. He stared at me, and for the first time his ever-penetrating eyes showed only blank shock. Book? The word scraped out of him. What book? The one I transmigrated into, love, the research goddess is hard to chase. You're the male lead, Brielle is the destined heroine, and I, Talia, am the disposable ex who doesn't survive past chapter 3. I babbled between sobs. My only purpose is to die and give you a dark turn buff so you and the heroine can have your tormented romance. I refuse to be cannon fodder, I just want to go home. I was empty. 3 months of buried secrets lay spilled on the floor. When I finished, I felt hollow. I slid down the wall, knees to my chest, buried my head, and sobbed until I couldn't breathe. It's over. I told him everything. He'll think I'm insane and ship me to the psych ward. Still better than being roadkill. I gave up inside my head. Seconds crawled. No mockery, no call for security, just silence. Adrian still hadn't spoken. I peeked through my arms. He hadn't moved from his wall-pin stance, statue still. His face was bloodless. Finally, he stirred. Straightening slowly, he pulled out his phone and dialed. My heart shot into my throat. Here it comes, the padded ambulance. Zane. His voice was hoarse. It's me. Immediately, pull every resource we have and find someone for me. A possible crazy fan of mine. Profile, violent tendencies, owns a white Honda, likely to appear at the AU front gate crosswalk 3 days from now. Find her. Whatever it takes. I jerked my head up, staring in disbelief. He ended the call, crouched, and met my eyes levelly. His gaze was a tangle of shock, heartache, lingering fear, and something like relief. He didn't think I was crazy. He believed me. The man who worshipped data and logic had swallowed my impossible story whole. So. He reached out, this time I didn't flinch. With aching care he wiped the tears from my cheeks. You kept trying to leave, not because you don't love me, but because you were terrified? I sobbed harder, nodding frantically. Suddenly he crushed me against him, so tightly I felt he might fuse me into his bones. Over and over, voice shaking with the relief of someone who'd just dodged annihilation, he whispered against my ear. Thank God. You still love me. Thank God. From that day, everything changed. Adrian stopped locking me in the lab. He simply refused to let me leave his orbit instead. Whatever the occasion, I was annexed to his side. Meetings, I sat beside him. Experiments, I sat opposite him. Even bathroom breaks were streamed to my tablet via Archie's live hallway feed, for mutual transparency and trust building. Transparency my butt, you just want 24/7 surveillance. Yet his obsession shifted from imprisonment to hyperprotection. Zane located the crazy fan. A wealthy girl with paranoid delusional disorder who'd fixated on Adrian after he confiscated her phone at a lecture. Adrian never met her. He dispatched legal and psychiatric teams to her parents. After a cordial chat, the family shipped her off to a top overseas sanatorium for open-ended rest. The lethal plotline was excised at the root. I could finally cross streets without imagining headlights. Still, freedom eluded me. There's more than one threat, Adrian warned. Until every page of that storyline is rewritten, you stay inside my safety zone. That zone, a 3-meter radius with him as the center. Lab staff stopped seeing me as decoration. First arm candy, then muse, now the boss's vital organ. Brielle sought me out. No frost, no rivalry, only calm resignation. I thought Adrian needed an equal in the arena, she said, watching us orbit each other. I was wrong. He needs the one person who can make him lose control, an anchor. I wish you both happy. With that, the original destined heroine bowed out, Zen style. So, the plot is officially roadkill, right? I eyed Adrian carving an apple for me, conflicted feelings swirling. He peeled in one unbroken ribbon, focused like an artist. What's on your mind? He asked, handing the fruit over. When exactly do you plan on releasing me? I mumbled through a bite. He paused, stared. Never. Absolute certainty. Talia, you're not walking away in this lifetime. His gaze was as possessive as ever. Yet my heart raced instead of recoiling. Great, I'd developed captive bonding syndrome. Storyline, obliterated. Escape plans, retired. Partly because resistance was futile. Partly because being the sole focus of a prodigy felt habit-forming. I stepped into my role as chief art consultant for real. My aesthetics humanized their sterile halls. My empathy untangled the nerd's social knots. With Kendall I launched the lab's official social channel, packaging breakthroughs into snackable science, views skyrocketed. I'd stopped being a passive fish, I'd found my tide. Adrian, in turn, grew, almost human. He'd abandon billion-dollar code reviews to stroll the gardens if I asked. He attempted brown sugar ginger tea for my cramps, then surrendered the kitchen to Archie when smoke alarms protested. Still paranoid, still holding root access to every device I owned. Yet at 3 a.m. he'd page through my crude stay-alive escape drafts and hug me tighter, wordless sorrow in his eyes. Our strange equilibrium settled. Warden and ward, shield and sheltered. One afternoon, sketch pad in hand, I felt him drape his arms around me from behind. Talia. Let's get married. My stylus jumped, carving an ugly streak across the design. Again? He files proposals more often than lab reports. No rush, I deflected. Rush, he countered, chin on my shoulder like a giant wolfhound. Archie says signing the license drops your flight probability another 0.5%. Me, deploy your AI for mankind, not marriage metrics. It also finalized the wedding security blueprint. He added 360 coverage, guest bedding down to kindergarten records, not even a fruit fly gets in unscreened. I laughed through my exasperation. Adrian, this is a wedding, not a main battle tank. Silent, he buried his face against my neck. I'm scared. Scared it's all a dream. Scared you'll vanish if I blink. Instant puddle, my heart liquefied. I turned, cradled his face. Adrian. I'm not going anywhere. I kissed him first. My final escape plan update is titled Playing Dead for Life Beside a Control Freak. Shock flickered, then blinding joy detonated behind his eyes. He seized the kiss, deepening it, fierce and reverent. Outside, sunlight drenched the quad. Inside the core, code still streamed like starlight across glass walls. I knew, in that moment, I would spend my forever tangled with this man of zeros and ones. And for the first time, I surrendered gladly. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you score today's tale? If you enjoyed, like and share the video. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more unforgettable stories. See you next time.
I'd been secretly dating Chase, my brother's best friend, for 3 years. He always said, "Don't let your brother find out. If he knew I made a move on you, he'd kill me." I believed him and tucked us away like contraband. Then his first love came back to town, and he left me, alone in the hospital, never returning that whole night. Later, at brother's birthday dinner, when everyone demanded to know which of his friends I was with, I panicked, stabbed a finger at the stern man in the corner, and blurted, "It's Dr. Vance." The room went ice cold. The usually unsmiling surgeon rose slowly, unruffled, and spoke. "Brother-in-law, guilty as charged." The day Ava flew home, a fine rain was falling. Chase had promised to stay with me for my upper endoscopy. We were steps from Riverdale General when his phone rang. One glance at the screen rearranged his face into a softness I'd never seen, threaded with panic. "Ava's landed and can't get a cab," he whispered, cradling the phone like it was a heartbeat. "The rain's insane, and she's alone. So..." The word floated out of me, eerily calm. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Luna, can you go in by yourself? I'll swing back later." "What if I say no?" He froze. My sweet, obedient self had finally talked back. "Don't be like this," he snapped. "Ava just got back. She doesn't know the city. She's 28, not 8. I cut in, voice trembling. "Can't hail a ride, or is my boyfriend the only driver in town? Why are you being such a bitch?" It flew out of him.
Bitch.
"So wanting your guy beside you for anesthesia makes you a bitch." I laughed while tears glazed my eyes. "Go on. Don't keep her waiting." He exhaled like I'd lifted a boulder off his chest, sprinted to the curb, and never asked how you do a sedated scope alone or who drives you home after. Watching his taillights melt into the rain, I felt the last 3 years slap me across the face. Pathetic, really 3 covert years until today, the moment his moon-white Ava touched down. Chase's old line echoed. "If your brother finds out I touched you, he'll bury me." I'd swallowed it and stayed hidden, posting only cryptic quotes on Instagram, sitting 3 chairs away at every group dinner, just my brother's kid sister and her brother's buddy. Now I saw the truth. He wasn't scared of Leo. He was scared Ava would see. "Luna?" I swiped at my tears and spun around. Leo's childhood friend, Dr. Vance. White coat, charred under his arm, brows pinched. "You okay?" "Feeling sick." "Fine." I forced a smile. Scheduled for an upper endoscopy, but my ride bailed. He didn't debate. He plucked the intake slip from my fist. "You need a guardian for conscious sedation. Let's go." "Really, Zach? You'll miss rounds. Finish my sweep. I've got 30 minutes. He was already at reception, tone ironclad. Zach and Leo grew up a block apart, 5 years older than me. I barely knew him, stoic at every barbecue, sterner since residency. He murmured to the nurse, and her whole posture softened. While the sedative slipped into my vein, I thought, stomach hurts, heart hurts. Maybe they'll fix both while I'm out. But when I surfaced, the attending was eyeing me funny. A nurse whispered, "Sweetheart, bad dream? You cried the whole time." My cheeks were salt sticky, my throat raw. The moment I swung my legs off the gurney, the floor lurched. A steady hand caught me. Zach's scrub scent, antiseptic, and sandalwood. "Morgan, Zach," I croaked, trying to pull away. "Stay put." His voice was a rock. "The meds aren't done. Let me get you out." He shepherded me through discharge, scooped my scripts, paid my bill, drove me home. When he parked under my loft's awning, he said, "Gastric ulcer. Take the meds, eat real meals." He paused. "And keep your head quiet." "Yes, Doc," I rasped. "Need me to walk you up?" "I've already hijacked your morning." He still popped the umbrella, escorted me to the elevator, and watched the door shut. That night Chase never came back. Scrolling at 2 a.m., I found his newest post, "Candlelight at Bellevue." Caption, "Long time no see." Across the table, a woman's manicured fingers cradled a wineglass, nude polish, perfect crescents. So romantic it sliced. I double-tapped, then blocked him. Next morning, I ghosted out of the apartment we'd secretly shared half a year. While packing, I unearthed a hardcover in the nightstand. Inside, a snapshot. 17-year-old Ava in a prep school uniform, grinning under a basketball hoop, sunlight dripping off her hair. I stared until the colors blurred, then centered the photo on the coffee table and left a sticky note. 3-year trial period. Failed on both sides. Dragging my suitcase through the blinding noon, I remembered another downpour 3 years ago, the KTV corridor where Alex cornered me, kissing me stupid and murmuring, "Luna, I'm crazy about you. Never wanted anyone like this." I'd bought every syllable. Waited 3 spins of the calendar. Waited until his white moon returned, and he dumped me without a Band-Aid text. My phone buzzed, "Leo. Birthday next week, baby sis. Big dinner, be there." I smirked and answered as brightly as I could fake. Wouldn't miss it. I only dared show because rumors said Chase was a no-show. The private room din at Jordan's swirled while I shrank into a corner. "Luna, you're all elbows," Leo teased, ruffling my hair. "Freelance grind wearing you down." The door swung open. Chase walked in with Ava on his arm. She wore that season's tweed mini, lashes for days, same girl in the photo, polished to a lethal gloss. We locked eyes, shock for shock. He'd thought I'd bail. I'd banked on his absence. The air glitched. "Chase, man. Thought you were MIA, Leo shouted, fist bumping him. "And this is—" "Ava, high school friend," Chase muttered, gaze glue-stuck to me. "Hi, everyone," Ava sang, all white teeth. Chase insisted I crash Leo's party. Happy birthday. Champagne popped. Bro banter ignited. "Dude, finally bagged your childhood crush. Respect. Wedding bells when?" "Save me a groomsman slot." Ava played shy. Chase drank without denying, eyes flicking back to me like loose wires. My water glass tremored. Hot droplets bit my skin. Nothing registered. "Luna, you okay?" "You look sheet white," Leo whispered. Ava's crystal laugh cut across. "Actually, I heard Luna's had a crush on someone at this table for years. Right here, right now. She's just shy." Head swiveled. Spotlight on me. She knew. Of course she knew. Ready to strip me in front of the crowd. Heat scalded my cheeks. "Not true." "Really?" Ava blinked innocently at Chase. "You're not the guy, are you?" "'Cause that would break my heart." Chase's stare sliced her way. Warning, plea, I couldn't tell. Yet he said nothing. I felt peeled, raw, drowning. Across the lazy Susan, Zach's calm eyes anchored me. Dark ocean I could jump into. Not him. I heard my voice crack, then strengthen. "I'm with Zach." Utter silence. Leo's jaw dropped. "Come again." Zach laid his chopsticks down. For heartbeats he studied me, some unreadable storm behind his irises. Then he spoke, level and clear. "Right. We're together." "No way." Leo leapt up, punching Zach's shoulder. "You animal. When did you even go after my sister?" Zach let him land a couple playful blows. "Last week. She needed someone at Riverdale General. I was there." Chase's face twisted into something ugly. He slammed his glass onto the table so hard the crystal rang. Luna, you're seriously telling me it's Dr. Vance? Dr. Vance smiled, the gesture never reaching his eyes. If it isn't me, who else you? Chase's gaze flicked to Ava beside him, and his mouth snapped shut. Brother was still shell-shocked. Dr. Vance, outside.
Now.
It's not his fault. I started to stand, but Brother's glare pinned me back into my seat. Dr. Vance unfolded himself from his chair with chilly calm and followed Brother out. Luna and Dr. Vance are actually kind of perfect together. Ava's smile stayed bright, yet a flash of triumph slid through her eyes. Only when Brother came back with his arms slung loosely around Dr. Vance's shoulders did the rest of us exhale. Brother thumped Dr. Vance's chest. You break my sister's heart, I'll break your face. Understood. Won't happen, Dr. Vance answered quietly, steel beneath the softness. The meal limped to an end. I pushed my chair back, and Dr. Vance was already there, looping my bag over his shoulder. Come on, I'll drive you home. Chase shot up so fast his chair screeched across the marble like fingernails on glass. Inside the car, the silence felt radioactive. Dr. Vance drove with surgical precision, gaze locked on the road. At the first red light, he finally spoke. Why the lie? I twisted my fingers in my lap. I'm sorry. You cried my name the night you were left in that air bay, he cut in, voice flat. During the upper endoscopy, you kept saying it. Heat flooded my cheeks. I couldn't look at him. So now I'm the stand-in, he went on, tone unreadable. If I treat you badly, your brother will literally murder me. I'll tell him the truth, I whispered. Which truth? That you're still hung up on Chase but toss my name out to save face? Your brother will homicide all of us equally. Then what do we do? The light turned green. He eased the car forward. A long beat later he said, since the story's out, we date, for real. No wavering, no drama. No making your brother choose sides. Date you? I blinked. Why not? He finally glanced over. Attending trauma surgeon, 28, salary covers a family, hobbies are climbing and trail running. No smoking, no gambling, no record. 2 condos, 1 SUV, parents retired teachers, Jordan.
Descends résumé.
His pause felt like a scalpel. And clean romantic history. No one who got away. No messy secrets hiding in the dark. I swallowed, speechless. Of course, if you'd rather, tomorrow I'll confess to your brother. He'll pummel me, but lying's worse. His knuckles whitened on the wheel. One lie always breeds more. Regret tasted metallic on my tongue. Besides, his voice cooled. This way you can still wait for Chase to finish his walk down memory lane and realize you're the prize. The words stabbed. He rolled to a stop outside my building. Okay, I blurted. I'll try. I want to. He studied me a few heartbeats, the corner of his mouth lifting almost imperceptibly.
Deal.
Avery, we were officially dating. Before this, I'd only known Dr. Vance as the austere one in Brother Circle. Once we were a couple, I discovered the frost was only surface deep. He memorized my gastroenterologist's diet sheet and picked restaurants where the chef could modify plates without sacrificing flavor. I whined for hot pot. He gave in, ordered a yin yang cauldron, let me have exactly 5 spicy cubes, then steered me to the mild broth. Taylor, you're so strict, I mumbled. Ulcer patients need self-discipline. He fished beef from the bland side for me. When you're healed, I'll take you to the spiciest place in Chinatown. If I worked late, he detoured to fetch me. Before an overnight shift, he texted. On-call roster says I'm Riley. Surgery starts at 7. Probably out by 10. Sleep early, don't wait up. Afraid I'd panic if he vanished mid-text, He sent me the hospital's monthly schedule marked with red blocks for probable or time and green for when he could answer immediately. Isn't that a hassle? I asked. Nope, he said. You relax, I relax. Riley, I mentioned offhand that a fireworks show was launching on the riverside. He traded shifts, drove me out, parked overlooking the water. Crowds pressed in. He stayed a half step behind me, shield steady. When wind sliced through my coat, he draped his own over my shoulders and wrapped both arms around me, chin resting on my head, sharing heat. The sky bloomed gold and crimson above us. His heartbeat thudded slow, certain, against my back. In that instant, I realized Dr. Vance was too good, too decent for me to keep borrowing his decency as armor. And I was getting used to him. Terror struck. Zach. I turned, tilting my face up. Fireworks fragmented in his dark irises, softening the austere lines. Morgan, for everything these weeks, I whispered, eyes on his collarbone. I know you stepped in because of brother, because you didn't want me humiliated. I can't keep wasting your time. His arms locked for a second, then released. Expression blank, he stared down at me. I'll talk to brother, I rushed on. Tell him we're incompatible, my fault. He won't blame you. He didn't speak the entire ride home. I'd always been a little scared of him. Now the silence felt glacial. When he braked at my curb, I unclicked my belt and managed a shaky Morgan. Fingers on the door. Luna. His voice cracked like split wood. In the sodium glow, his face was unreadable. You honestly think I'm the kind of man who dates someone he doesn't care about? That I'd stage a relationship out of pity? That every minute I spent looking after you was just obligation? My lips parted. No sound emerged. Forget it. He waved a hand, staring straight ahead. Go upstairs. I climbed out. Before I could shut the door, he floored the accelerator, taillights streaking crimson as the car vanished into the night. Chest hollow, I trudged into the lobby and almost walked straight into Chase. You and Dr. Vance, it's real? His eyes were bloodshot, breath sour with bourbon. He'd clearly been waiting. None of your business. I sidestepped. He caught my wrist, grip painful. 3 years, Luna. 3 years, and you jumped to someone else overnight. Me? I wrenched free. Who are you thinking of every single day we were together? Whose photo lived in your hidden album? Whose diary did you lock in your desk? It wasn't like that. He hissed, desperation raw. I thought I wanted her, but this month all I see is your face. I can't. You make me sick. A laugh tore out, bitter. Ava came home. She didn't match your fantasy, so I'm the consolation prize? I'm done being your safety net. He dragged me against him. Arms iron bars. I was wrong. I haven't slept. Every time I close my eyes, it's you walking away. I shoved with every ounce of strength, stumbling backward. Don't touch me. Pain contorted his features. I love you. Only you. Please. Too late. I shook my head. We ended the moment you left me bleeding on that sidewalk for your ghost. I came tonight to propose. He pulled a velvet box from his pocket, flipped it open. A solitaire engagement ring caught the corridor's weak bulb, the minimalist setting I'd once drooled over in a boutique window. Bought it 3 months ago. Give me one more chance. I didn't look back. My fingers trembled as I opened the door. Then call me lucky. I just dodged a bullet. He tried to catch my arm. I stepped back, voice thin as ice. Chase, keep this up and I swear I'll tell brother. His hand froze midair, then sank like every last ounce of strength had been siphoned out of him. 2 days later, Ava asked me to lunch. In the hushed dining room of Bellevue, she swirled her coffee with practiced grace. Luna, Chase talks about you all the time. Oh. I sipped my lemon water and said nothing more. Aren't you curious what he says? Ava smiled. Damn her. The kind of smile that curves eyes and lips into a perfect pretty bow. Miss Sterling, just spit it out. I'm on the clock at 2. I flicked my watch. I know about you and Chase. She leaned in.
I'm sorry.
I never meant for my coming back to mess things up. No harm done. My voice stayed flat. What's meant to break will break. Good. She eased into her chair again. Chase is a wreck, drinking like a fish.
Guilt, probably.
You gave him 3 years. That has to count for something. My knuckles blanched around the glass.
Nah.
I got bored. I'm happy to pass the toy along. Her smile twitched, then re-glued itself. Let's be accurate. I'm the one who let you borrow him. He chased me in high school. I said no. I went abroad. He waited. Now that I'm home, maybe we pick up where we never started. Congratulations. I kept my tone dull. So, is this the part where I watched the happy couple cuddle? Ava's grin vanished. Her eyes sharpened. Luna, you two are over. Don't hover. He's soft-hearted. Can't stand to see you hurt, but your hanging around only crushes him more. A short laugh slipped out of me. Sharp, disbelieving. I lifted my left hand and flashed the quirky little solitaire I'd bought myself. Tell Chase to stop stalking me. My boyfriend wouldn't like it. Ava laughed too, softer this time, almost sincere. You're faking it. I spotted that the night of the dinner. Still, Dr. Vance is into you. Maybe you should let him be. He's a hell of a lot safer than Chase. My breath snagged. I hadn't seen that coming. Outside the restaurant, my hands shook. For those 3 wasted years, for the girl who'd believed they meant something, and for the ripple Ava's last sentence left in my chest. I hesitated, then opened WhatsApp and scrolled to Dr. Vance. Our thread was a week cold. My thumb hovered forever before I typed. Been busy? Half an hour later, a single letter popped up. Yep. So cold it stung.
Emery.
My ringtone yanked me awake. Brother's name on the screen. Luna, he barked, voice granted hard. What the hell is going on with you and Dr. Vance? I shot upright, brain fogged. We felt kind of incompatible, so he's stacking overnight shifts like a maniac, 5 in a row until he dropped. His blood sugar bottomed out in the office yesterday. Rage crackled through the line. I sprang out of bed, heart ricocheting. Is he okay now? Laid up at home. Get over there. Now. He hung up. The whole mess was my fault. Guilt and dread wrestled in my gut while I threw on clothes. I stopped for flowers and fruit, then hit the kanji shop for bland, stomach-friendly porridge before hurrying to his loft. Brother and a handful of his buddies were already there. Dr. Vance sat in the middle of the couch in charcoal sweats, face pale but not wrecked, a game controller in his hand as he guided Mario across the TV screen. His eyes flicked to me, lit, then dimmed, and he turned back to the game. Leo, guys. Zach. I greeted, voice shrinking with each word. Still calling him Zach. Brother flicked my forehead. Explain. He's overworked, so you throw a tantrum and break up? I gaped at Dr. Vance. He wouldn't meet my gaze. After we got together, it just felt wrong fit. I mumbled. Wrong where?
How?
Brother pressed. The guy's handsome, brilliant, decent, and crazy about you. Where's the flaw? Heat scorched my cheeks. Words jammed in my throat. He paced like a caged wolf. Do you know how many extra shifts he took just to clear a few evenings for you? Doctors are swamped. You knew that going in. Now you punish him for it. Tears pricked. You swore if we fought you'd take my side. Brother jabbed a finger at me. I know you and I know him. Since kindergarten, you've never lost a playground battle. Today, his birthday, mind you, he's sick and you haven't even texted? I didn't know it was his birthday. My voice was mosquito small. Girlfriend of the year doesn't know her own boyfriend's birthday, he roared. I shrank, defeated. He was right. I'd never asked Zach's birthday, never learned what he loved or loathed. This whole month he'd cared for me, rearranged his life for me, while I absorbed it like a sponge and gave nothing back. My throat burned. Tears blurred the room. Dr. Vance set the controller down and shoved Brother's shoulder. Enough. She's about to cry. Brother stalked off to the balcony to light a cigarette. The others followed. Suddenly, we were alone. I cracked. Fat tears rolled. Nothing theatrical, just pure shame. Zach panicked, patting pockets for tissues, then simply pulled me in. My fault. I told Leo. The first was upset about work. Didn't think he'd go nuclear. You iced me out, ignored my texts. I hiccuped, wiping my nose on a shirt. Yeah, that was crappy. Sorry. His palms soothed circles on my back while I leaked all over him. When the storm passed, I sniffed. It really is your birthday. March 16th. He nodded, gentle. Why didn't you say? I wheezed. You were dumping me. Felt weird to announce it. He looked away, ears pink. Words failed. You wanted out, and I just agreed. I should have asked why. His voice dropped. That night I floored the accelerator. Then you turned. Saw you with Alex outside. I didn't ask him to come, I whispered. I told him we're done. I don't want him. No. A tremor of hope threaded through the question. I tugged his sleeve. I didn't know about your birthday. I didn't bring anything. He peeled off the tear-stained hoodie. Under the black cotton tee, his shoulders were warm, solid. He hugged me so tight my feet almost left the rug. My face ignited. What are you doing? He laughed into my hair. Let me hold you. Best gift I could ask for. Later, when we finally reached the karaoke bar, Leo and the guys were already half-sloshed. Seeing Zach and me walk in hand, Brother exhaled like a man whose team just won overtime. That's more damn like it.
Sam.
The party turned wild. Zach is usually reserved, but with his boys he sings off-key, claps offbeat, and turns crimson when they tease him. I sat beside him, watching this new, wonderfully human side of the man I'd almost thrown away, and decided cute was a pitifully small word for what he looked like tonight. He really had drunk too much. He was slumped on the couch, gaze hazy. I leaned in and asked, You okay? He turned to look at me, eyes shining. Luna, you look beautiful tonight. My face warmed and I nudged him. You're wasted. Not wasted. He laced our fingers together. Just happy. When the night ended, I ignored Brother and helped Dr. Vance into a cab. I settled him on his sofa, then went to the kitchen for water. When I came back, his eyes were closed, breathing steady. He looked asleep. I knelt beside him, long lashes brushing faint shadows onto his cheeks, straight nose, beautifully curved lips. I'd never noticed how handsome he was in that quiet, grows-on-you way. Asleep, he lost his usual severity and looked gentler. On impulse, I leaned in to steal a kiss on his cheek. His eyes flipped open. I jerked back, startled, but he cupped the back of my head and kissed me. The kiss tasted of alcohol, yet felt heart-shakingly tender. His lips were cool, soft. When his hand settled on my waist, I tensed all over. Relax. He murmured against my mouth, the other hand lightly patting my back. I loosened, eyes closing as I answered the kiss. When we broke for air, he pressed his forehead to mine, breathing uneven. Luna, I'm serious. I know, I whispered. Then don't bring up breaking up again, okay? Okay. I nodded, something inside me melting. After that, our dynamic shifted. I stopped thinking of him as Zach and started treating him like my boyfriend. For my stomach check, I went to Riverdale General. Dr. Vance was still doing rounds, so he told me to wait in his office. A young nurse blocked me. Sorry, this is the doctor's private office, no visitors. I'm Dr. Vance's friend. He asked me to wait, I explained. The nurse sized me up and smirked. Plenty of people want Taylor's attention. Wait outside. I hovered awkwardly until Dr. Vance returned, white coat immaculate, chart in hand. Why didn't you go in? He asked, naturally taking my hand. Your nurse wouldn't let me. I mumbled. He led me inside and announced to the room, Everyone, this is my girlfriend Luna. When she comes, send her straight in. The nurse blanched and slipped out. The others stared. A few younger female doctors looked deflated. You're quite the heartthrob, I teased over dinner later. He paused while ladling soup, then grinned. Jealous? I am not. I attacked my rice. Setting the ladle down, he snapped a selfie of us, posted it to Instagram before I could blink. In the shot, I'm wide-eyed against his shoulder. He's half smiling. Caption. Finally. Within minutes, brother commented. Asterisk, finally what finally? Be good to my sister. Asterisk. Next visit, the staff treatment flipped. Nurses kept popping in to fetch files, flashing conspiratorial smiles. Exasperated, I asked one, What is everyone staring at? She beamed. Director Taylor's suddenly gentle. We had to see the girlfriend. You're gorgeous, sis. I blushed, secretly delighted. While waiting, I browsed a book at his desk. It was immaculate. Color-coded files, neat pen cup, a single frame. I picked it up. He'd snapped it the night of the fireworks show. Me swallowed by his coat, laughing up at blooming gold chrysanthemums. I hadn't even noticed him take it. A passing doctor chuckled. That frame's about to crack from all Taylor's tapping. I raised an eyebrow. He shows it every time someone tries to set him up. After his shift, he drove uphill. Where to? Leo meteor shower tonight, he said. Forecast says clear skies. Thought we'd watch from the ridge. The summit was deserted. The sky pressed close enough to touch. He reclined the seats, opened the moonroof, and we lay under the Milky Way's silver ribbon. Gorgeous, I breathed. His fingers threaded mine. A meteor streaked by, and I bolted upright. Make a wish. He watched me, eyes brighter than stars. Mine already came true. Then he kissed me, deeper than ever. His cool fingertips slid under my sweater. I trembled, but leaned closer. Luna, he whispered hoarsely, is this okay? I nodded, arms circling his neck. Afterward, he held me, brushing kisses into my hair. He produced a small box, simple matching wedding bands, our initials engraved inside. Replace the one you're wearing. I laughed. I bought this myself. It's got no history. Still replacing it. He slipped the new band on solemnly. From now on, you only wear rings I give you. I slid the larger one onto him. Remember, Taylor, you're officially taken. He grunted. Have been for ages. 3 months later, he showed up straight from an overnight shift, exhausted but glowing. Luna, I'm almost 30, he began. Marry me. I was flipping pancakes. The egg nearly hit the floor. So sudden, he buried his face in my neck. A 30-year-old patient died of late-stage stomach cancer today. His fiancée was inconsolable. I don't want to waste time. Every minute with you matters. I want the legal right to look after you, to wake up to you, to build a home. I hugged him, tears falling. Yes. At our engagement dinner, I wore crimson silk. Dr. Vance stood beside me in a dark suit. Relatives crowded with congratulations, his hand never leaving mine. When it was brother's turn for tea, his phone rang. Yo, Chase. Brother answered on speaker, laughing. Missing my sister's engagement? Some bro. Silence stretched so long brother checked the signal. Who's he marrying? Chase's voice cracked, hoarse. Who'd you think? My sister Luna. Brother chirped. Invitation went out 2 weeks ago. Dr. Vance handled it. Dial tone. Brother frowned. Weird. I calmly handed over the tea. Have some tea, brother. At midnight, my phone vibrated. 20 missed calls, all Chase. Final text, asterisk downstairs. Come out or I start knocking. Asterisk. From the balcony, I saw him under the street lamp, shirt thin against the March wind, hair wild, cigarette butts circling his feet. Dr. Vance called just then. Tired day, sleep early. I'm off this Riley, so let's hit the hot springs tomorrow. Sounds good. I kept watching the lone figure below. Chase is here. Silence pulsed through the phone for 2 beats. Do you need me to come over? No. I kept my voice low. I can handle it. You have surgery tomorrow. Get some rest. All right. He hesitated. Call me the second anything happens. I hung up, dialed the building manager, then the police. By the time they coaxed him away, he was still shouting, Luna, I never agreed to you getting married. How could you marry someone else so fast? The yells finally cracked into a sob. We were supposed to be the ones engaged. The voice faded, swallowed by the night. I drew the curtains, sealing the silhouette outside. I thought that was the end of it. The next morning, brother showed up, eyes bloodshot. After leaving my place, Chase hadn't gone home. He'd driven straight to Dr. Vance's house, gotten blind drunk, and waited on the porch till dawn. When Dr. Vance stepped out for his run, Chase blocked him. He said he'd had me for 3 years, that every first I'd ever given was his. He said he was ready to marry me now, so Dr. Vance should back off. Dr. Vance answered with a right hook. Unfortunately, brother was inside reviewing seating charts. He walked out just in time to see it. He added a punch of his own. I called you brother. What the hell did you call my sister? Chase didn't hit back. He staggered, swiped the blood from his lip, and said, You're right. I deserved that. So, yeah, she picked someone else, but I still want to fight for her. Dr. Vance, I'm sorry, but I love her. Dr. Vance stood motionless. If you really loved her, we wouldn't be here. Brother landed a third blow, harder. That one's from Dr. Vance. Don't ever come near them again. Chase pushed to his feet, held Dr. Vance's gaze a long moment, then turned and left. I had just opened the door, still groggy, when brother, 6'3" of muscle, barreled in and hugged me, voice cracking. Luna, I'm sorry if I'd known sooner. It's okay. None of this is your fault. I patted his back like soothing a child. Dr. Vance treats me better than okay. We're going to be ridiculously happy. He'd better, brother sniffed, eyes still red. The guy's gone all out for the wedding, best of everything. 1 week before the ceremony, Chase sent a box through brother. Inside were every photo we'd taken in 3 years, all the shots I'd snapped on the sly. Chase cooking in my loft, asleep on the sofa, brushing his teeth in morning light. He'd had them printed, laminated. Ticket stubs for movies, that theme park wristband, the leather wallet I'd handmade, and a letter, barely half a page. Luna, I'm sorry. I blew it, and I've lost you for good. Casey is better for you than I ever was. Be happy, truly. Chase. One line was blurred, as if a drop of water had fallen on the ink. I didn't answer. I carried the box downstairs and dropped it unopened into the trash. Some history isn't meant to hitch a ride into a new life. The wedding day blazed sunshine. When I walked toward Dr. Vance in my wedding gown, he cried, This man who can clamp a bleeding artery without flinching blinked hard and let tears fall. During the vows, his voice shook but never wavered. Luna, every day that's mine to give from this moment on, I walk beside you. Just be yourself. I'll love every version of you. When it was my turn, I said, Dr. Vance, Morgan, you showed me what it feels like to be loved with everything a person has. I love you too. The ring slid on, applause erupted, and he kissed me, slow, steady, endless. Brother swiped at his eyes in the front row. Dr. Vance's mother laughed through tears. Mom and Dad clasped hands, relief shining in their faces. During the toast, I caught a familiar silhouette at the ballroom door. When I looked again, it was gone. On our honeymoon in the Maldives, we heard Chase and Ava had briefly rekindled, then split. He relocated south, started over. Ava flew back overseas for grad school. I asked for no details. My horizon was filled with Dr. Vance, his tender smile in sunlight, the way he shielded me from rough waves, the forehead kisses he gave every sunset. On Brother's birthday, we all met at the old bar. Spin the Bottle landed on Dr. Vance. The table erupted. When did you fall for Luna? Was it the upper endoscopy day? The meteor shooter night? I ran the timeline in my head. Dr. Vance hesitated, ears reddening. The spring Luna graduated high school. She came to dinner with Leo. Which dinner? Everyone stared, blank. Even I drew a blank. The one in the white sundress. First time she wore makeup, he murmured. Ponytail, dimples. I handed her a soda, and she said, Morgan. Brother gaped. You were eyeing my baby sister back then? She was 18, you animal. He let Brother punch his shoulder. I only thought, cute kid, all grown up. Then I kept my distance because of you, sir. The room exploded in laughter. Only I knew he'd edited out the years I'd wasted on Chase. He'd watched the whole mess unfold. Long before I noticed him, he'd already been looking out for me. That night I curled against his chest, finger tracing circles. Why didn't you ever tell me? And inflate your ego? He trapped my wandering hand. Besides, you only had eyes for Chase, no room on your radar for anyone else. I giggled. You were so icy. I was terrified of you. Yeah, every time you two traded secret smiles, I wanted to throttle him. I'm sorry. From now on, I'll reserve all flirty eye sparkles for you. I batted my lashes theatrically and wriggled closer. Keep moving and I'll stop being polite, he warned. I ignored the warning. His eyes darkened. He rolled over and pinned me. He was definitely not polite. 6 months after the wedding, I was pregnant. Dr. Vance juggled the on-call roster to squeeze out every possible minute with me. When morning sickness had me hugging the toilet, he'd come off a 12-hour overnight, rub my back, whisper encouragement. Taylor, you're swamped as it is. He kissed my knuckles. You and the baby outrank everything. On delivery day, I shook from the contractions. He barged into the OR and scrubs, eyes swollen red. Luna, I'm right here. After the birth, he booked the top postpartum suite around the corner from Riverdale General and signed me up for every recovery program the nurses suggested, escorting me to each appointment. You should go cuddle our daughter, I protested. He quoted his OB colleague, new moms are emotionally fragile. The baby has a fan club. I'm your one-man support team. I gnawed the monster drumstick from my recovery tray and bawled happy tears. During postpartum, Chase mailed a gift, an exquisite gold baby locket, and signed. Dr. Vance studied it and said evenly, keep it. It's a blessing. He tucked it into the memory box and pulled me close. Luna, we're happy, aren't we? So happy, I whispered against his chest. At our daughter's 100-day celebration, the sun poured through the windows again. Dr. Vance cradled her while I tucked my arm through his. Friends and family swarmed, laughter ricocheting off the walls. Outside, magnolia blossoms had opened. Spring, steady and sure, had arrived. The years stretch long from here. Thank you for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If it touched you, give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. We'd love to read your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories.
See you next time.
I found out Jason was cheating on our third wedding anniversary. The table was covered with dishes, but he barely touched them before heading out. When I asked where he was going, he answered with perfect candor. "My foodie's treating me to dinner. It's Mia, you know her. Free food, why pass it up?" Yet an hour later Mia sent me a voice note. In it, Jason's voice was giddier than I'd ever heard it. "They say you should marry someone who shares your appetite. I really regret meeting you so late, otherwise I'd have definitely made you my wife." I listened in silence, then ate every last bite on the table by myself. After that, I set out the divorce papers. I converted Mia's voice note to text, screenshotted it, and posted. "My husband's female foodie just sent me this. Has he cheated? Bedtime is prime gossip hour." The thread blew up the moment it went live. "Sis, he's absolutely cheating. If you believe they're just innocent foodies, you might as well believe I'm the first emperor. Emotional cheating is still cheating. You don't have to catch them in bed. Stay woke, sis." I snorted a laugh, didn't reply, kept scrolling. The algorithm pushed it to trending, comments topped 10,000 in no time. Some urged divorce, some offered analysis. When I stayed silent, a few turned on me. "Damn, another doormat. If you're not leaving, don't post and piss us off. My finger paused, then typed. "Jamie, divorcing now. What's so fascinating? Still up?" Before Jason's gaze reached me, I killed the screen and pretended to sleep. The mattress dipped as he curled around me from behind, voice velvety as always. "Didn't you love that place's dim sum? I brought some back, want a bite?" He'd just come from dinner with Mia, his shirt smelled of perfume fused with food. I wrinkled my nose and eased away. "No thanks." Sensing the chill, Jason gave a soft chuckle. Like coaxing a child, he whispered at my ear. "Don't be mad. It's not that I didn't want you along. Your stomach's delicate, you never enjoy what we order. You just kill the vibe. Better we each eat our own thing, right?" Kill the vibe? My fingers tightened around the phone. His tone stayed gentle, but the words stabbed like needles, souring my heart. If I hadn't accidentally overheard, I'd never have guessed. When a man and a woman share the same taste, they can also end up rolling in the same bed, huh? Actually, that line from Mia wasn't the first time I'd heard it. Half a month earlier, in a bright mood, I dined at a classy spot near work. I booked a private booth, ordered, then pulled the sonogram printout from my purse. Looking at the bean-shaped shadow, I felt impossibly warm. Our first child, 3 years in the making, Jason would be over the moon. The waiter set down cream of mushroom soup. I tasted it and reached for my phone. He loves this flavor. I was about to tell him I'd finally found a restaurant perfect for both of us, and that we were about to become 3, when Jason's voice drifted in from next door. "Gross. Probably only my wife could swallow this tasteless pretty boy food. I was an idiot to try her pick. Let's never come here again." The booths were separated only by a bamboo screen, far from soundproof, so every word of disdain rang clear. When the rest of my order arrived, my chopsticks froze midair. Peeking through the slit, I saw just the two of them. Jason tossed his spoon, tugged Mia into his side, and grinned. "Hey, late night skewers tonight, just us." She nestled closer, perfectly at ease. "Love to." "Oh, and you're off soon, let's hit upstate." I mapped out the best barbecue joints. Jason agreed instantly. My hand, ready to yank the screen aside, stopped cold. Time off? He told me he was going on a business trip to Havenport. I racked my brain and realized Jason's travel had spiked only after meeting Mia, though his job barely required it. Dazed, I listened to their itinerary in detail. Suddenly Jason snapped his fingers. "Book the hotel, would you? Don't want my wife getting suspicious. She's boring, sure, but I'm not ready for divorce." Mia cut to the chase. "One king bed?" They shared a knowing, filthy laugh. That sound shattered the last of my hope. I tried to lie to myself, they're just super close, lousy with boundaries. But now I knew my husband had, in every way that counted, cheated. I stared at the sonogram, nails carving crescents into my palms. Tears splattered the paper. Jason sighed, replete with laughter. "Man, if only we'd met sooner, life with you would have been a blast. Elena and I can't share a meal, every bite of her watery cooking feels like punishment." Listening to them joke and jeer, I wanted to fling scalding tea in Jason's face and slap him raw. Reason held me back. This restaurant sat near my office, too many coworkers ate here. Making a scene would only hurt me. My chopsticks clattered to the floor, I left them. The food before me cooled, hardened, turned repellent. After a long while, a bitter absurdity welled up. I hadn't known these 3 years were torture for him. So why keep at it? I cupped my belly and whispered an apology. "Sorry, little bean. On the very day I met you, Mama decided your daddy wouldn't be around." From that evening on, I worked with a lawyer to draft the divorce papers, assets, property. Since he strayed, every penny owed to me would be claimed. They arrived this morning, just before Jason walked out the door. Jason was already asleep behind me. Probably a little cold, he tightened the arm he had draped over me and pressed it squarely on my stomach. My stomach had always been delicate, and this was still early pregnancy. That one press sent a violent wave of nausea through me and chased every trace of sleep away. I hurriedly shoved Jason off. He mumbled a couple of sleepy, grumpy words and rolled over. I ignored him and ran straight to the bathroom. After a bout of retching that turned the world black, I dragged my limp body to the living room for a cup of hot water to settle myself. I thought he had gone back to sleep. But a cup of dissolving stomach-soothing granules was already waiting on the table. Jason sat beside it, rubbing his eyes, half awake. When he saw me he sighed, helpless. "If husband doesn't watch you for one day, you forget your medicine, don't you? My poor delicate wife, what would you ever do without me?" Next to the stomach granules lay one antacid tablet. The just-boiled kettle steamed quietly at his elbow. He nudged the cup toward me. "Come on, drink it while it's hot, then some warm water. I've dug out the hot water bottle too. When you're done, pour the leftover water in and lay it on your belly, it'll feel good." Looking at the concern in his eyes, my heart suddenly ached. He was so practiced at taking care of me. As though loving me had been carved into his bones. It made me want to soften toward this man I had loved for 3 years. But I couldn't. Absolutely not. I loathe betrayal. It sickens me. I didn't touch the antacid. I lifted the granules, drained the cup, and swallowed my tears. When I spoke again, Jason froze. "Jason, let's get divorced." He stared blankly for a second, then ruffled my hair. "Still groggy from sleep? Or from puking? What nonsense are you talking?" I ducked away and took a step back. My gaze on him was calm. "I already know about you and Mia, stop pretending." For an instant his face went blank. He disguised it quickly, but I'd seen it. He smiled, tone casual. "No, wife, what could possibly be going on with her? She's just an ordinary friend, maybe a little closer, foodie, you know. You're still mad about today, aren't you? He held my shoulders, perfectly placid. But I already explained. With your stomach you can't handle greasy spice, why drag you along to watch us eat and feel awkward? I didn't want to watch his act, I cut him off coldly. Tell me, what day is today? Jason went silent, thinking. Then, as if a light bulb clicked on, he laughed. So that's why you're upset. Lady wife, I confess my sin. I'll take tomorrow off and give you a do-over anniversary, okay? Before I could answer and tear his mask away, Jason's phone rang. The caller ID said Mia. He didn't switch on speaker. But Mia's sobs were loud enough for me to catch every word. Jason, that place we ate at tonight must have served bad food. It hurts so much, I feel awful. Come to the hospital with me, please. I need you beside me. Jason's brows snapped together. He hadn't looked that tense when I'd mentioned divorce. Yet his voice stayed tender. Okay, dress warm, I'll Jamie be there. He hung up, hurried to the bedroom for a jacket, and headed for the door. As he passed he even bumped into me. My lower abdomen slammed against the table corner, searing pain. He didn't notice. Without looking back he said, Mia's sick, I have to take her to the hospital. Stop this drama, there's nothing between us but friendship. If you won't believe me, once she's better I'll bring her to explain to you face to face. Sweat poured off me from the pain, my patience was gone. I pulled out my phone, volume maxed, and played the voice note Mia had sent me. Fine, let her explain this to my face. What exactly did she mean sending this? Hearing it, Jason's body stiffened for a second. When he turned again, his expression was even calmer. It's just a joke. While we were eating we talked about you, Mia asked why I never bring you out, so I cracked that line. Honestly, you should learn from Mia's generosity. So you want a divorce over a tiny thing like this? His tone made it sound as if I was the one making trouble. I gave a cold laugh and ripped the last veil away. You forgot our anniversary, lied that you were on a business trip, and took another woman on a vacation for 2. Jason, how much more proof do you need before you admit you cheated? He probably never imagined coincidence could be that cruel. So his first reaction was explosive rage. He hurled his keys, his voice went icy. You even know who I traveled with? Who says you can investigate me? Don't you understand, trust is everything between spouses. I didn't bother explaining, my smile only grew more mocking. Evidence shows you're not worth any trust. Dylan, yet the phone rang again. Still Mia. He didn't answer, he inhaled, forced his fury down, and picked up the keys. I'll overlook your stunt for tonight. Can we talk divorce when I get back? Mia's still sick. I was done arguing. I pulled the divorce papers and blocked the doorway. Sign this first, then go wherever you like. Jason laughed in anger. You had this ready, you planned the divorce long ago, didn't you? I said nothing, pen in hand, stubborn in the doorway. The phone rang a third time, he still ignored it. Just stood there panting, eyes bloodshot. When the ring sounded a fourth time, Jason finally snapped. He shoved me hard. Roaring, I'm not signing. The push caught me off guard, I crashed to the floor. The pain in my abdomen sharpened, as though something was tearing me apart. I tried to call out, to make Jason come back. But he'd already slammed the door behind him. I lay there, limbs like lead, panic rising. I could feel the bond between me and this child snap. The room began to blur. Just before everything went dark, I heard a voice tear apart with terror. Elena! Don't scare me like this. Why are you bleeding so much? On the way to the hospital, I drifted in and out of consciousness, fragments of the past flickering through my mind. In my memories, Jason had always been the kind of guy who collected friends. He loved murder mystery board games, weekend road trips, big group dinners, hunting down every new restaurant in town. We met at a mutual friend's boozy get-together. I had to admit, a guy that good-looking and sunshine bright is the center of gravity wherever he goes. While I played drinking games, I kept sneaking glances at him. I didn't notice someone drop something into my glass. Alex saw it. Without a word, he flipped the table, called the guy out in front of everyone. Bottles shattered, the creep's forehead split open. The rest of us couldn't pull Alex off until somebody dialed 911. As the officers led him away, he still found the breath to grin at me standing there shaken and teary. "Don't worry," he said, "just teaching a loser some manners." I rode to the precinct house as a witness. All of us talked at once, swearing Jason had nothing to do with the fight. The second we stepped outside, he looked straight at me. He yanked me into a hug before I could speak. Exhaled like he'd been holding air for hours. "I don't care what happens to me, thank God you're okay." That was the first time a total stranger made my heart race. Later I learned Jason had felt the same lightning bolt. While I was watching him, he was secretly watching me. From that night he chased me with relentless, happy intensity. Jamie, we were officially together. A year later he proposed. I didn't say yes right away. Jason's social circle is huge, and his easy charm blurs lines, male friends, female friends, it doesn't matter. I'm quieter. After a year I still felt like an outsider in his world. The memory of that spiked drink left me permanently uneasy. I loved him, yet I hesitated to promise him forever. The 9th time he knelt, I finally told him my fears. In front of everybody he swore an oath as sharp as a vow. "Friends are friends, the woman I love is my wife. I, Jason, will never cross that line. If I do, Elena can punish me any way she wants." He sounded so certain. I chose to believe. For 3 years of marriage his buddies, guys and girls alike, kept respectful distance. Then came Mia. Mia showed up at a work banquet after we were married. They bonded instantly over truffle fries, Michelin stars, late-night taco trucks. To put me at ease, Jason talked about her openly, introduced her as his foodie, and Mia sweetly called me sis. Unlike his city slicker pals, she seemed simple and starry-eyed, fresh from a tiny farm town. She gasped in delight at every dish Jason picked, clutching her chopsticks like a kid at Disneyland. But she was broke and got pushed around at the office. Jason's protective instinct kicked in. Soon he was updating me on her roommate drama, her overtime pay, her cat's vet bills. Eventually the foodie stopped staying on her side of the table and slid into our bed. Maybe the day Jason made those vows Mia wasn't in the room. So she became the convenient, guilt-free choice for his affair. The ambulance hit a pothole, my body lurched and a sliver of awareness returned. Noise crashed around me, Jason's hand clamped over mine, his voice cracking in panic. Everything sounded underwater, but I caught the terror in his tone. Something hot, tears, splashed onto the back of my hand. All I could picture was the way he'd shoved me earlier, his face warped with rage. The irony almost made me laugh out loud. He broke the promise, yet he was the one who lost his temper, now he was crying? Is the baby still alive? When I woke in the hospital I stared at the ceiling for Morgan before I managed the first sentence. I knew Jason hadn't left the bedside. Those 5 words froze him mid-breath. He raked his hair, knuckles white. "Morgan," he gave up the struggle and exhaled a ragged sigh. "Elena, scream at me, hit me, whatever you need." I didn't know you were pregnant, I swear. I love you. If I'd had any idea, how could I have pushed you? I'd already guessed, but hearing the finality hollowed me out. My body had never been cooperative. Getting pregnant was a miracle. This child was the first flicker of life I'd ever carried. I had loved him so fiercely it scared me. I tilted my head back, eyes shut, letting tears seep into the pillow. Jason's voice cracked like a contrite little boy's. Elena, please. We'll have another baby, I promise. There would be no next time. I opened my eyes and drilled my gaze into his. Go home and sign the divorce papers. Elena. My eyes burned, my voice shook. Jason, don't make me hate you more than I already do. He had never heard me speak like that, the words slammed him still. After a long silence he let out a brittle laugh and pointed at the nightstand. It's already done. I looked over, and saw them. The divorce papers were crumpled, exhausted, lying there like shed skin. I flipped to the last page, his signature was inked in jagged strokes. Only then did my lungs remember how to breathe. Suspicion flickered. He still denied the cheating, why surrender so easily? Reading my face, he gave a self-mocking smile. When they rushed you to emergency, the nurse needed to start in 4, but you wouldn't let go of those papers. You were unconscious yet your knuckles were locked. They couldn't pry them away until I leaned in and said I'd sign, and only then did your fingers loosen. He sounded equal parts baffled and bruised. Elena, you hate me that much, over a foodie? I ignored him and scanned the document again. He hadn't touched a single clause of the property split. Good. I grabbed the pen and scratched my name beside his, ink skidding with urgency. Only then did I meet his eyes, voice flat and icy. You're the one who vowed grandly to marry me. You're the one who shattered the vow and killed our child. Tell me, Jason, don't I have every right to hate you? He stepped closer, mouth opening. I yanked the blanket over my head and delivered my verdict. Get out. I can't stand the sight of you right now. Once I'm discharged, I'll call you. We'll finish this at the city clerk's office. Over the next few days, Jason really did stop showing up in front of me. Every morning, while I was still asleep, he would set a thermos of slow-cooked chicken broth on my nightstand. Every night, after I'd fallen asleep, he'd slip in to empty my trash and pull the blanket over me. He took care of me in silence, but he never let me see him. It was as if my words had stung him into a sullen, childish sulk. I didn't care what was going on in his head, I drank the broth with a clear conscience. He'd cost me a traumatic miscarriage, and I hadn't even added a damages clause to the divorce papers. This care was the least he owed me. What I hadn't expected, though, was Mia showing up on my 4th day in the hospital. She was wheeled in, all pretty smiles. Only when she caught the unwelcoming look on my face did she sober up. Elena, I'm so sorry. I've had a stomach bug these past few days. The moment I felt better, I rushed over. I heard, you and Jason are getting divorced because of me? I glanced at the half-open door and tugged one corner of my mouth into a smirk. Jason and I are already getting divorced, anything more is pointless. Either she didn't hear the dismissal or she pretended not to. She kept explaining. Elena, you've really misunderstood us. That voice note was recorded by accident while we were chatting over dinner. My arm hit the screen. I didn't notice until I got home, and by the time I tried to explain, you'd already blocked me. She paused, saw I still said nothing, and pushed on. About the trip to upstate, at first Jason really did go to Havenport on business. I wanted to travel upstate but was scared to go alone, so I dragged him along. It's all my fault. If you need to blame someone, blame me. Don't stay mad at Jason, he's having a rough time too. You had to admit, she knew how to handle men. Or rather, she knew how to play the perfect understanding little flower. I caught the faint rustle outside the door and sneered inwardly. That little speech had probably soaked Jason's heart in warm honey. All the while Mia's words dripped sincerity, but her eyes glittered with quiet triumph. I saw the hostility plain as day, and my face went ice cold. Finished? Then get out. I hope your future mistress tells you the exact same things after you're married. Then you can decide whether you believe her. You. Mia's expression cracked. She shot a look toward the doorway. Then she leaned in, voice dropping to a whisper, the raw malice beneath her farm girl mask finally showing. Don't divorce him, sis-in-law. Isn't it more fun when it's exciting? You have no idea how wild Jason gets every time we meet. Looking at her face, I felt my stomach lurch. I couldn't take another second. I swung my hand and slapped her hard. Rowan, get out! Jason, who'd been crouching outside like a turtle, finally bolted in at the uproar. Mia, red handprint blooming on her cheek, gave him a tearful, pitiful glance before throwing herself into his arms, sobbing. Jason's brows knitted, his face frighteningly dark. You keep saying you don't trust us, but the moment Mia heard we might divorce, she rushed here even faster than I did. She came to explain, and you hit her? When did you become so unreasonable? In his fury, Jason forgot to lower his voice. His roar was so loud the whole door rattled. A nurse, sick of the racket, shoved the door open. Sir, no shouting in the hospital, surely you know that? She eyed the two still wrapped around each other, disgust flickering across her face. Your wife just miscarried. As her husband, can't you think of her feelings? Jason's face darkened further, only then did he let go of Mia. He pressed his lips together, struggling to calm himself, saying nothing. Once he quieted, the nurse rolled her eyes and turned to leave. As she walked off, she muttered loud enough for everyone to hear. Never seen anything like it. Wife loses a baby and husband drags the mistress in to torment her. Have some decency. The door clicked shut, and Mia cried even harder. Jason shielded her in his arms, his face like a thundercloud. Elena, what's wrong with you? Without a shred of proof, how can you slander a young woman in front of strangers? I stared at him, disappointment flooding every corner of my chest. He knew perfectly well I never gossiped behind people's backs. I certainly hadn't broadcast their affair in the hospital. The nurse had simply seen our marital status on the chart and watched them embracing. She'd put two and two together herself. But I also knew that even if I explained, the lovebirds in front of me wouldn't listen. So I took out my phone and opened the recording app. With a cold chuckle, I hovered my thumb over the play button. Jason, I was willing to leave you a scrap of dignity. You chose to throw it away. You asked how I knew you never went on that business trip but vacationed in upstate instead? Half a month ago I happened to be eating in the booth next to yours. I savored the unease finally creeping across his face. It felt good. I raised an eyebrow and wiggled the phone. Every word of your lovely conversation is right here. Which hotel you booked, what room type. Even what brand and flavor of condoms you plan to buy, I captured it all. Want to listen? I'd originally kept the recording in case Jason refused the divorce or quibbled over property, something to present in court. Now it was serving its purpose just fine. The confidence that had stayed plastered on Jason's face for days finally collapsed. No, don't play it. He shoved Mia aside and lunged for my phone. But I'd already slipped it back into my pocket. He covered his face, words tumbling over themselves. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I didn't know you were there that day. A bitter laugh rang through my mind. Sorry, didn't know. Those were the only two sentences he ever seemed able to produce. As if the crime wasn't the cheating itself, only the fact that he'd been careless enough to let me find out. Under my freezing stare he went quiet, shame making him sway on his feet. He tugged Mia and stumbled toward the door. Before they stepped out I reminded him, voice flat. Since you don't care to hear the recording, be at the city clerk's office tomorrow at 9 with your documents. If you don't show, don't blame me for forwarding that clip to every friend and relative you have. I'm not waiting a single day longer. I expected him to stall again, or simply play dead and not turn up. But to my surprise he arrived exactly at 9. Still cares about his reputation, I guess. I snorted softly and walked through the doors of the city clerk's office. We kept our silence from the moment we entered to the moment we pulled our numbered ticket. I could feel him sneaking glances at me, turning away the instant I shifted my gaze, as though belated shame had finally caught up with him. I ignored him, closed my eyes, and pretended to nap. We'd arrived early, almost no time passed before our number was about to be called. Jason finally lost his nerve and clutched the hem of my jacket as I sprang up. His eyes were bloodshot, still unwilling. Elena, it's just this once, can't you forgive me this once? Don't we even have the tiniest chance to start over? I shook my head, swift and clean, and told him plainly no. From the first day you and Mia crossed the line out of friendship, we lost that possibility forever. Do you remember the vow you made? You said it yourself, I could do with you as I pleased. The loudspeaker finally called our number. He squeezed his eyes shut, then stood and followed behind me. The paperwork flew, the clerk said to come back in 30 days for the certificate. He didn't wait to hear the rest, turned and walked away. The house we'd lived in went to me, he raised no objection. But I was afraid he'd drag things out, and the mess upset me. So I went straight home and packed up his belongings. My building has 1 elevator per floor, no one else ever comes. I piled everything in the hallway, snapped a photo, and sent it to him. Remember to take these. He answered a day later. Just toss it. What a waste. I rolled up my sleeves again, anything in the pile still worth money I fished out and sold. Old clothes went straight into the charity bin in the courtyard. The worthless leftovers I called a junk picker to sort, we haggled and I pocketed a few more dollars. The final trash I asked him to haul downstairs for me. By that afternoon the corridor was spotless. I stretched, feeling wonderfully unburdened. I took out my phone, transferred him the money I'd made, and labeled it. Your payout from your junk. Then I blocked him for good. With the emotional mess cleaned up and my body rested, I threw myself back into everyday work. The whole month, Jason never called or texted. Silence, perfect silence. I was satisfied. An ex, after all, should stay as quiet as the dead. Amid the bustle of work I almost forgot Jason existed. Not until my calendar pinged the reminder, pick up the certificate tomorrow, did it hit me. Jason had vanished from my life for an entire month. Those 4 weeks had been light and full. That evening an unknown number rang through. I answered casually with a hello. But the line stayed mute except for heavy breathing. I pretty much knew who it was, my voice iced over. If you've got nothing, I'm hanging up. Don't. Jason finally spoke, liquor thick on his tongue. Elena, it's me. I need to say some real stuff. I'm sorry. A burst of catcalls erupted behind him, some guy just as drunk slurred, that's the spirit. She's only your ex-wife, what's so hard about facing her? I froze, then realized. Jason and company were playing that classic drinking game. Truth or dare. I'd heard from mutual friends that this month he'd been a wreck. Drinking till dawn after work, showing up with twin panda eyes. Getting chewed out by his boss, nearly fired for a major screw-up. His buddies must have felt sorry, cooked up this dare to jerk him back to life. I sometimes envied that talent of his, gathering friends who'd walk through fire for him. The tongue-thick guy shouted excitedly. Raise your glasses, everyone, toast to Jason's brand new life. Having fulfilled the dare, I was ready to hang up. Jason sensed it and blurted, "Don't, please don't. I still have so much to tell you." I paused, he gulped an entire glass, then went on, "I'm sorry, Elena, I've cut Mia off completely. I checked everything. She sent you those messages on purpose. She wanted a job at our firm, begged a friend to get her into my bar hopping group, zeroed in on me. She never planned to be with me. She's just a prank-loving train wreck. I've blacklisted her resume industry-wide. At least in Havenport she won't land a decent position easily." He drew a shaky breath, voice cracking. "I know you never trash-talked Mia at the hospital. I know you're not that kind of person. That day I only wanted to rile you, make you fight so I could coax you later. While you were hospitalized you looked broken every single day. I was scared. But I screwed up, again." Each sentence ended with another glug of alcohol, until the final words came out in sobs. "I'm sorry, I really, truly know I was wrong. Can we please skip the city clerk's office tomorrow? I don't want this divorce." His friends fell silent, afraid to prod him. Waiting for my answer. What answer could I give? I'd already let go. His repentance stirred nothing. I only smiled faintly and said gently, "Go easy on the booze." He sucked in a breath, hope maybe. Before he could speak I added, 9 a.m. tomorrow, don't be late for the certificate. Next morning I dressed up nice and went to the city clerk's office. This month, to rebuild my body, I'd been eating more. Clear, rich broth every day. I'd even gained a few pounds since before the miscarriage. In the mirror my cheeks had filled out. Colleagues said I glowed. Looked bright and alive. As for Jason, when he stepped in front of me I almost didn't recognize him. He dropped what looked like 20 pounds. Stubble on his chin, hair every which way. Reeking of alcohol, eyes ringed with purple. Like he'd drunk all night and come straight from the bar. I looked him over, he did the same to me. At last he glanced at his haggard self and gave a bitter smile. "Nothing about me matters anymore. Thank God you're okay." I nodded, no appetite for small talk. Just as I was about to enter the building he called after me. Eyes clinging to a final straw. "Really, no second chance at all?" I stopped, thought it best to spell it out. Looking at him, calm and clear, I said, "I've thought it through this month. Maybe we were wrong from the start. You're outgoing, love people, and never draw lines between male and female friends. I stay quiet, but those blurred lines are the one thing I can't stomach. If you hadn't made that vow back then, I'd never have married you." Jason flared, half-drunk agitation in his voice. "But I get it now. I'll keep my distance from every female friend. Mia's already history." I shook my head, stepped back, disappointed. "You still don't see. Even without Mia, tomorrow there'll be Zhang Yao, Wang Yao, Li Yao. It's who you are, like taste buds we can't reset. You can't change, I can't accept. Jason, we never fit. It only took 3 years to see it, crystal clear." I turned and walked into the city clerk's office. Jason stood frozen, no longer blocking me. The papers took under 10 minutes. I felt weightless. Without looking at him I headed toward my office. Jason watched my back and said softly, "Elena. I'm sorry." I kept walking, never slowing. The overcast sky finally cracked open with sunlight. Right on the path ahead of me. Thank you for listening to today's story. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? If you liked the video, please like and share it with friends. We look forward to reading your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales. See you next time.